Meeting order.
Roll call.
Yes, please.
Wayne Feldmeyer,
Yep.
Larry Gausted,
Yes.
John Glasspool,
Yep.
Josh Grant,
Yep.
Franklin Hahn,
Yes.
and Chase Munson.
Yes.
Oh, Eric Johnson.
Here.
You're on a separate line, so that's why I always miss you. Sorry.
What am I?
Minutes.
Oh, did everybody get a chance to read the minutes? The last meeting?
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? There we go. Motion carried.
This one?
Take it away.
So, please take notice that an application has been made by Gerald Ladson of 12267 County 27 Caledonia for a conditional use permit to build a dwelling in the Ag Protection District in Wilmington Township on the following premises. It's part of Government Lot 2 in the northeast quarter of Section 36, Township 101, Range 6. Said applicant standing and making application is the fee owner of said described lands, and a hearing on this application will be held at the Houston County Commissioners Room in Caledonia at 5:50 p.m. on Thursday, October 23rd. All persons having an interest in the matter may attend the hearing or submit comments relative to the granting or denying of said application, and comments should be mailed to the Environmental Services Department or emailed to the zoning office and must be received by Tuesday, October 14th of 2025 to be included for review prior to the hearing. All comments are considered public record. This was advertised on October 8th of 2025. So this is a pretty standard non-farm dwelling. It's a 10-acre lot. There had been an existing house and, well, actually farmstead there that a previous owner had pretty much completely demolished. And so, although no one had resided in there for a number of years, which is why now it has to be brought into compliance, which requires a CUP. And then what you may have seen as well is that it was discovered during the review process after this had been noticed that it also requires a feedlot variance. And so next month he'll have to come forward with that request too. And he'll need both of them in order to be able to get building permits.
So why do we give a building permit before we have the variances?
He won't be able to get a building permit until those are
Yeah,
changed.
but why are we addressing it now
Oh.
when it hasn't been to the Board of Adjustment?
Because you guys could approve it and they could deny it and he still couldn't move forward. So, I mean,
Just asking.
yeah, he needed both anyway, so.
Can I interject, Franklin? When I got my building permit for this,
Let's, can you come up,
There you go.
name please, and speak in the microphone?
Okay.
Thank you.
excuse me, when I went and got my building permit for this conditional use or to get my building permit, she was just leaving on vacation and they just kind of missed it in their paperwork process. She just told me today or Monday that I need another feedlot variance, so. And it could have been done, but it was just, she was leaving and it didn't get done, so. Is there any way we could hurry it through and do it all right now?
No,
That's what I'm-
it has to be noticed.
Okay, all right, okay.
So we could go through this and then have it
Right.
pending approval or deny from the Board of Adjustment.
Yes, I guess in actuality, his application came in after the deadline date, and because he was trying to move forward quickly, and I was headed out of the office, I did have Michelle advertise this, and so that is why the variance got missed. But if you guys review it now, it goes to board here the beginning of November, and then once the variance is through, he could move forward after he gets the variance, whereas if you guys wait, he's gotta wait for it to go to board after the variance is approved next month, so he's looking at the beginning of December before he'd actually build.
Yeah,
So this is still
I may not.
helping him go forward a little quicker.
It's cold fingers and we should be doing it now. It's because, you know, and then everybody needs it. It was missed.
It came in after the deadline. Actually,
No, it should be on this meeting with the conditional use permit. It should be on this meeting, the feedlot permit, because I just found
The
out.
variance, you mean?
Well, no,
The variance should have,
it all should be on one.
yeah, I get it.
That's the feedlot thing we just got this week.
well, if you'd like, we can wait till November to hear these guys, for these guys.
Well, I may not want to build if that's a whole deal, if I gotta wait that long. So I'm just wondering if there's any way you can push it through quicker than another month, another couple weeks, and give her, give them a chance. They made a mistake and I got paid for it in cold weather working. Any ways around it?
I've never had this.
It has to be advertised.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah, it has to,
And-
yeah, go through all the advertising
Wow.
and hearing to have a variance.
Okay.
Who would not?
I mean, Jerry, we can review the conditional use, the variance just can't be moved forward.
Right, yeah. I was just trying to buy another month. But because I was there to do all this.
Well, the planning commission can't make a decision for the Board of Adjustment.
No.
No, but you guys can review this request, and I guess
Yes, I'm not saying we
I don't know
can't.
that there's any reason not to. I just wanted to make you aware that
Go
that
ahead.
wasn't,
He'll just have to be
Situation.
scheduled for a variance in November, and if it gets approved, you can start right away, right?
yep.
Yeah, if it gets approved in November, you can start right after that, if, that's an if, right? So, yeah, we don't know what the outcome's gonna be.
I know what the case was up there and we did all.
Mhm. So what is the footage
What?
For the variance,
for the variance, yeah?
it'll be right around 1,000, I think.
Oh, 1,000 feet? Okay.
I'd have to look at that
I
again.
got a map here. Yeah, I got it's in here too, so I got it. Yep.
Jerry, if you want to sit up here by the microphone, we got some questions.
These are the new red lines I have for this week.
Yeah, we've got a map here.
It sounds like it might be 100, or right around 200 feet.
200 foot, okay.
Well, do we want to review this?
Well, we might as well go through it, huh? What do you think, Franklin?
Yeah, that,
Might as well go through it and,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't think there's an issue with you guys moving forward.
Okay.
Jason's already been out there, done all the, was there Wednesday, I think, for the feedlot, your feedlot guy.
Okay. Well, Jerry, what else do you have to present to us? Anything?
No, just the conditional use permit is what, thank you.
Public comment?
Yeah, do we have any public comment on the issue, matter? Any public comment? Does anybody have any questions? Findings it is?
Yeah. 9, 12, and 14?
make a motion, we bypass 9, 12, 14.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so number one, that the proposed use conforms to the county land use plan. Analysis states that the land use plan makes numerous references to preserving prime agricultural land, and the fact that non-farm dwellings are only allowed on marginal ground promotes this goal.
I got a question on that. Why is this here proposed site on prime land?
No, this one is not, so that, I guess that's,
All right, that clarifies it.
I guess how would you guys like to vote?
Might as well just have an aye and no vote, shouldn't we? What do you guys want? You want a roll call vote?
I'm fine with all of us if everybody else is, but if we want a roll call, we want a roll call.
No.
No? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Two, that the applicant demonstrates a need for the proposed use. Analysis states that the applicant identifies that he recently sold his acreage and he needs a new dwelling.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Three, that the proposed use will not degrade the water quality of the county. Analysis states an erosion control plan will be approved by the SWCD, and a licensed septic contractor will design the septic system to meet all minimum state requirements established to protect water quality.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carried.
Four, that the proposed use will not adversely increase the quantity of water runoff. Analysis states that the applicant will need to meet all requirements of their erosion control plan to address any runoff concerns before, during, and after construction, but the addition of a single-family dwelling should not adversely increase the quantity of water runoff. A new dwelling will create less impervious surface than what likely existed with the prior development at this site.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Five, that soil conditions are adequate to accommodate the proposed use. The soil survey of Houston County identifies the soil suitable for building site development and the septic tank absorption fields.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Six, that potential pollution hazards have been addressed and that standards have been met. Adequate treatment of septic is likely the biggest potential pollution hazard, but a septic contractor will design a system meeting state standards.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Seven, that adequate utilities, access roads, drainage, and other necessary facilities have been or are being provided. Analysis states that many utilities are currently on site, but all costs associated with new utilities or upgrades are the responsibility of the applicant.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carried.
Eight, that adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide sufficient off-street parking and loading space to serve the proposed use. Analysis states that there is sufficient off-street parking to accommodate typical residential use.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Nine, not applicable. So 10, that the conditional use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the vicinity for purposes already permitted. Analysis states that the primary use of the surrounding acreage is agricultural in nature, and the addition of a single-family dwelling will not impact that use.
All in favor? All opposed? Motion carried.
11, that the establishment of the conditional use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding vacant property for predominant uses in the area. Analysis states that this dwelling meets the density standard in the Ag Protection District and will not impact surrounding agricultural fields and activities. And the orderly development meeting ordinance standards can still take place, and this request puts landowners on notice that this is an agricultural area that may have discomforts resulting from those types of uses. This landowner previously owned land in the Ag District, so should understand those discomforts.
All in favor?
Aye.
I got a question on that one, not necessarily a question, an explanation. On the noise and the odor and that stuff, when they get a building permit, don't they sign on their building permit that they're building in an agricultural area and there may be dust and odor and lights, or don't they do that on the building permit?
No, we don't explicitly have it, I guess, in any of the permits that they would have to seek.
Okay,
So this one
I was just wondering if that was in there. Go ahead.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
12 not applicable, so 13, that the density of any proposed residential development is not greater than the density of the surrounding neighborhood or not greater than the density indicated by the applicable zoning district. Analysis states that this request meets the required agricultural protection district density limit.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
14 not applicable, so 15, that site-specific conditions and such other conditions are established as required for the protection of the public's health, safety, morals, and general welfare. And analysis states that a non-farm dwelling should not negatively affect the public's health, safety, morals, and general welfare if constructed according to the approved erosion control plan and septic design requirements.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Entertain a motion to
Findings?
approve the findings.
I'll make a motion to approve the findings.
I'll second.
I'll second it.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
I got a question now. Is this an open quarter?
Yep.
Okay.
The rest of it's all tillable acreage.
All right.
I proposed as a motion to recommend to the county board approval of a conditional use permit for a non-farm dwelling on less than 40 acres in the Ag Protection District with the 2 standard conditions. That being 1, the permittee shall comply with all federal, state, and local laws and regulations, and 2, that the county may enter onto the premises at reasonable times and in a reasonable manner to ensure the permit holder is in compliance with the conditions and all other applicable statutes, rules, and ordinances.
Do we need to mention, if he gets his variance?
Variance?
Yep. For the feedlot? Is that the only variance, is the feedlot, or is there a setback too?
Nope, just the variant, or just the feedlot.
Okay.
So just we'll say, applicant needs to have approved feedlot
Approve
variance
feedlot.
in order to move forward.
Yep.
Make a motion to recommend approval with those 3 conditions.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
We better have a roll call vote on this.
Okay, roll
Yeah,
call.
I can do that. Larry Ghosted? John?
Yes.
Josh?
Yes.
Franklin?
Yes.
Eric?
Yes.
Chase?
Yes.
And Wayne?
Yep.
All right. So these guys are just a recommending body, and that's where it'll have to go to the Board of Commissioners for final approval, and that'll be on November 4th. So you're not out of the water yet on this one either, but usually it goes through the board fine.
So we gotta wait until we do dirt removal after this, or can we take off the top soil now? I got a dozer
Why don't-
sitting there.
Why don't you give me a call tomorrow, so we can move forward?
Okay. On to the next one.
All right, so please take notice that an application has been made by Christine Sodak on behalf of the Christine Sodak Trust and Ronald McKelvey Credit Trust at 1200 Selkie Road in La Crescent to rezone an area from the Agricultural Protection District to the Residential District in La Crescent Township. And that's in the southeast of the northwest quarter, southeast quarter of the northwest quarter, and it's Section 20, Township 104, Range 4 in Houston County. Said applicant standing and making application are as fee owner of said described lands, and a hearing on this application will be held at the Houston County Commissioners Room in Caledonia at 6:10 p.m. on Thursday, October 23rd. All persons having an interest in the matter may attend the hearing or submit comments relative to the granting or denying of said application, and comments should be mailed to the Environmental Services Department or emailed to the zoning office and must be received by Tuesday, October 14th, to be included for review prior to the hearing. All comments are considered part of the public record, and that was advertised on October 8th of 2025.
You can come up, Christine, please.
So I don't know if any of you guys were around for when she had her variance hearing last month or a couple months ago for the septic. But the Board of Adjustment did allow her to move forward with having 2 type 3 septic locations rather than two type 1s. And so then she had a survey completed so that she could move forward with the rezone request.
Okay, why don't you tell us what your plan is, please?
Okay, I've had this property since 1993, and we have a very large house on the property, and my daughter and her husband and her 3 kids moved back into the area, and our idea was that if we could build another smaller house on the property, then they would take the big house and I would live right next door. There is a place way, way, way back in the woods that's on a different quarter, that would be available for building, but I don't want to live, a quarter mile back in the woods. So this would be closer to the road.
So in the map here, this is where your proposed building site's gonna be?
Yeah,
So I assume it's gonna be along the highway or the road here?
yeah, that's a private road.
Okay,
Yeah,
It ends at the cul-de-sac there?
it
goes
ends at the
private there?
cul-de-sac. Yeah, yeah. Or it starts at that, where that turnaround is.
I'm quite sure that's within the distance from plotted La Crescent. I know we went through that with the Board of Adjustment.
It is,
It's a 2-mile,
it is within the 2 miles. I don't remember right offhand specifically where was that.
the site is within the 2 miles?
Yep.
that's why she can change her classification to residential versus
Yep.
ag.
Yep, that's why I told her it was an option that some don't have. It sounds like the land maybe was not super productive anyway, and it's been in CRP.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's been is it still in CRP?
It's still in CRP. Yeah, I'd have to,
Have you notified FS?
I haven't, but I know I have to pay them back.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know that.
I would get that taken care of before you start anything.
Oh,
because
yeah.
they'll
Yeah.
they can make that miserable for you.
Yeah,
if you-
yeah, no, I know. But it's been there for like 3 years or 4 years now. So I realize that I have to pay them back for that area. I know that. Yeah.
So you're gonna share a well?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
There's no setback from feedlots for her, correct? Because there's none close enough?
Nope, nothing within the quarter mile.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions for Christine?
Public comment.
Yeah, well, I think we're done unless we ask you to come up. We'll ask for public comment now. Thank you.
Should I go?
Yes, you can go back, sorry, you can go back to your seat. Do we have any public comment on the matter? Any public comment on this? Okay. Nobody else from the board? Go to the findings.
So, as you guys may recall, we don't have a standard set of criteria for rezones. I've proposed the following 6 findings for you. If you would like to add anything, you're welcome to then here. So 1, Policy 2 of the Goals and Policies section in the Comprehensive Land Use Plan encourages rural housing development away from recognized commercial agricultural areas and into areas with marginal agricultural soil. Number 2, that Policy 9 of the Goals and Policies section and Policy 3.2 encourage rural housing where soils, topography, and water table are such that the individual sewage disposal systems can properly function. This location has been reviewed by a licensed contractor and preliminary paperwork submitted. Number 3, that policy number 1 under the agricultural goals and policies calls for the protection of prime agricultural land by limiting development in agricultural areas. This rezone area has been transitioned out of row crop production, and allowing this rezone will keep development closer to existing development and the public road, which will minimize impact on the land. Number 4, that the applicant has almost 70 acres of land at this location, but has chosen to only rezone a couple acres in an effort to restrict future development. If additional lots are desired, another rezone will need to be completed along with the plat approved under section 36 of the ordinance. Number 5, that the future land use map identifies areas within close proximity to incorporated cities and property owners within 2 miles of a city who have prime agricultural land are encouraged to continue to use their land for agricultural purposes, and this location is primarily classified as marginal ground. And number 6, that the proposed parcel meets buildable lot and lot area standards identified in the Houston County zoning ordinance. And I should ask you if you wanted to look at those individually or all at one, but.
I have an item like this, we vote on this roll call,
Is there anything anyone would like to add, or?
how do we do this?
Well, I would imagine you need a motion. Wouldn't you?
Motion to accept them, or?
Accept all 6.
Yeah. Do we have a motion to accept all 6?
I'll make a motion.
Larry?
Larry?
Yep.
We have a second?
I'll second it.
That was Franklin?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Say it.
Oh, so the motion to recommend the Houston County Board approve an amendment to the zoning map for the portion of 0802500 identified in the report from agricultural protection district to residential with one condition, and that's in La Crescent Township. And the one condition is that the rezoned area shall only contain one buildable lot unless a plat is approved under section 36 of the Houston County zoning ordinance.
I got one question. So her new home will be classified residential. Is her existing home that she has now, is that all too gonna be classified residential? Will that stay ag?
Nope, that's staying ag. The intent is for this to just, there's no parcel ID on that surveyed portion yet.
Yeah.
But it's just to include that surveyed portion.
Okay.
Are the taxes higher on residential and, or don't you know?
That I don't know.
It'll be higher, yeah.
She knew.
We get it lower, we got the commissioner here.
That's all I have.
I'll make a motion to recommend approval based on the one condition.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Yes, okay, so that'll go to board on the 4th.
Thank you.
Thanks, Christine.
So please take notice that an application has been made by Benji and Martha Bornkrager at 16011 Gooberwood Hill Drive in Spring Grove for an interim use permit to run a level 2 home occupation consisting of a manufacturing and selling of manufacturing and selling vinyl windows. That is in Wilmington Township on the following premises, part of the north half of the southeast quarter in Section 5, Township 101, Range 6. And said applicant standing and making application is as fee owner of said described lands. And the hearing on this application will be held at the Houston County Commissioners Room in Caledonia at 6:30 PM on Thursday, October 23rd. All persons having an interest in the matter may attend the hearing or submit comments relative to the granting or denying of said application. And comments should be mailed to the Environmental Services Department or emailed to zoning and must be received by Tuesday, October 14th of 2025 to be included for review prior to the hearing. All comments are considered part of the public record, and this was advertised on October 8th of 2025.
Okay. The applicants come forward, please.
Did you hand that part up for that one? So he did provide that extra, Michelle handed out the page with a few more of the details of the business, but I'll let you kind of explain it more too.
You want to explain to us your plan?
Sure.
Thank you.
So we have a current business in Winona County where we basically assemble windows. We just buy the vinyl in, it comes from Pennsylvania, and we buy the glass in and put the windows together, and we have contractors come in and pick them up. Or we do also go out and measure windows for people, and we sell them, they come pick them up, or we deliver them or whatever. So it's a small scale window business, I guess. Not like a big window store, but just, yeah, small scale business, so.
So your plan is to remove all the pig buildings?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And then you're gonna build another building to do your manufacturing?
That's correct, yep.
And that's gonna go, I read here, it's gonna go over the pit?
Yes, so we're just basically utilizing that concrete for a foundation.
So that is a
ton-
concrete pit that's
Yes.
out back there?
Yep, for a foundation. Mhm.
Okay. So those buildings, I've never been in them, but there's no pits underneath those?
No, nope, they're on a
Slab or whatever?
yeah, there's just small concrete slabs, and then they're actually sitting on steel I-beams. So they all have steel they're actually portable buildings, but they'll probably be torn down.
Oh, okay, all right, yep. Okay,
Kind of somewhat similar to a Cargill unit, other than they're considered portable, but.
yep, yep.
There isn't a house there currently either, but he has submitted that application as well. And we're just waiting on a septic review, and that should be ready to move forward.
Okay.
Buildings.
So is that considered a feedlot anymore?
Yeah, we felt it still met the standard to keep its feedlot registration, not have to be considered new. I forget what it is registered for, but I think you and Jeremy talked about that and felt that met what you intended to have on site.
Yes, I believe so. Mhm.
Okay, so you'll be utilizing the feedlot permit?
Yeah, we really probably wouldn't have that many animals, but we just,
Yep.
yeah,
Okay,
we have some horses, and maybe a goat or two and some chickens, but nothing major,
a little bit of everything?
right?
Since that's less than 40, right?
Nope, it's just over 40.
Oh,
like
it's just over 40.
40.75.
0.75.
Okay.
So in one of the public comments here was brought up about noise concern. So when you manufacture, do you create any noise?
There's a little bit of noise, not, so like so we do cut some vinyl,
Yep,
which is about 2 days a week, barely that. As far as assembling windows, there's just a drill, not a lot of noise, but we do cut some vinyl, which is a little bit of noise, but not. I would say it's considerably less than a tractor out in the field or
yeah,
anything like that, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's just,
so
yeah.
it'll be a minimal,
Yes, very minimal, yep. Mhm.
Okay.
And it'll be all inside, so,
Okay.
insulated building, so.
How many windows do you build in a year, you figure?
Just under 2,000. Which sounds like a lot, but most companies are like 40,000.
Custom windows, like?
Yeah, custom.
somebody just comes and says, I need this dimension, you'll make?
Yep, all custom sizes,
Yeah.
mostly custom sizes. We don't really stock anything.
No.
So it's just basically people come and order their size and we make them and we wait, when another order comes in, we make those. So it's not like we're stocking a few hundred windows or anything like that, so.
Are you gonna fill the pit in?
No. We plan to actually put a floor over the top and use the bottom for some storage and probably our horses in the bottom.
There's 2 pits there, isn't there?
Yes, there's another round,
Okay.
a round pit, yep. I think Jeremy said he will, so we need to get an empty, so Jeremy will come out and close out the manure storage, like
In the system.
yeah, just close it out in the system so that, because they're registered with the state for manure storage.
Sure.
So he'll close that out for us and then,
It has it has an identification number and everything. Anybody else have anything for him? Nope. Okay. Turn back to your seat if you'd like.
thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment? Please come up front.
You want me to come there?
Yes, please. Speak into the microphone. Say your name, please.
Okay. I'm a nearby neighbor, Lois Richte. I did have a question about the noise. I guess that's been answered. But I've been under the understanding that a home-based business, there's a limited number of employees that can be included in this. I'm wondering, what is that number?
6 for type 2.
So there will only be 6 of these folks living there, involved in this operation?
There can't be more than 6. They've identified that they might have one part-time employee.
And so that will be the number of people who live on that land.
I guess it could be, but it doesn't have to be. It's just, it could be an outside person coming in as an employee. Doesn't have to be someone that's a resident there. The owners have to reside there, though.
And so the ruling will be 1 resident and 1 building for construction purposes.
1 residence. I can't say that we couldn't look at future buildings, but it would require building permits for sure, and likely other permits, use permits. But it's in the ag district, so it falls within the 1 per quarter.
But if there was other homes built, there would be another hearing
Yep.
regarding
because
that.
This is just an
Have to be
interim,
rezoned.
this is just an interim use permit application, so this is just for the business itself. It's
Yep.
not for any new home or anything else. That would come
This is,
before you later.
yep, the house permit I have to look at. If they were gonna add more, they'd have to rezone it and subdivide it, which would require additional permitting and public hearings such as this. If they even wanted to expand their business, they're gonna hit the maximum square footage with this building, so, at that point, they would likely have to do some sort of rezone to a commercial or highway business district to make that a feasible option for them too. So if they do anything else there, it's gonna require some sort of public hearing.
Okay. I was just wondering. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have more public comment? Yep. Come up front and state your name in the microphone, please.
Hi, I'm Darren Meyer. I guess my main concern of the whole thing has nothing to do with the individuality of it all. It's the precedent that the county's gonna set. I commend the county for having a land use ordinance and protecting ag districts. When you start making these exemptions, I don't know where you start and stop making them in the future. And if it starts impeding on our agricultural producers, it's a hard can to put the lid back on the worms. 18 years ago, when I built my one heifer setup, there was another group of country on-site business that came and contested and said that they didn't want the livestock around their business because they didn't want customers to smell or deal with agricultural practices. I guess I'm just asking that like somewhere there needs to be something that either like stick to our land use ordinance where ag is ag and commercial is commercial and residential is residential, or there's gonna have to be something where you're gonna have to be able to hold agricultural practices exempt. And I know in theory that's fine, but in practice, if you get enough people that are a vocal group, they can contest and make your life completely miserable. And at the end of the day, I feel that agriculture areas should be left for agriculture and commercial should be commercial. And if we start doing this and open it up, everything in the future becomes discretionary. And I don't think the intent of any of this was supposed to be discretionary. So that's all I have to say.
I get your point.
We have any other public comment?
Could the applicant come back forward? So how many employees you plan on having?
At this point, we plan to have none, but
Just yourself?
my wife and I. So we don't have any, we are, just my wife and I are gonna live there in the house at this point. We have no plans to build any homes other than ours on the property. So if we had to get one employee, we may do that part-time. That's what we have now is one part-time employee in Winona County. We don't wanna get any bigger than that, and obviously, so we don't have computers, so it's very hard for us to really get really big because we wouldn't be able to manage everything. So, yeah.
Okay.
And we plan to actually farm part of the land that's there, so there's like 15 acres tillable. I plan to farm that as well, so I will probably have some pasture and I'll probably do some crops as well. Just, I grew up on a farm and I don't ever want to get rid of all the farmers, so.
Okay. That's all I got. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Thank you.
Thank you.
How many acres on this parcel?
A little over 40, isn't it?
40.75.
Well, that's, he wouldn't be able to build the houses on there without rezoning it anyway,
No.
in the subdivision.
Any more public comment? Any other questions? Well, we go to the findings?
Yeah.
Make a motion to strike finding 5, 9, and 13.
We have a second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Take it away.
So number one, that the proposed use conforms to the county land use plan. Goal 2.8 of the county land use plan promotes expansion of trade and service industries in the county.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It is an ordinance to, allow small home-based businesses, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, they're restricted on employees, as you guys cited, and then also on square footage for their buildings as well.
Okay.
And he's under the square footage?
Yes, he'll have to be. And we've talked about that.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Number two, that staff analysis, number two is that the applicant demonstrates a need for the proposed use, and staff analysis states that the applicant identifies they have been operating this business for the last 4 years and that it's the main source of income for their family, and they will be relocating to the county, which requires them to secure a new location for their business.
All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carried.
Number three, that the proposed use will not degrade the water quality of the county. Analysis states that the proposed business should have no impact on water quality and will have less risk of impact than the previous operation.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Number four, that the proposed use will not adversely increase the quantity of water runoff. Analysis states that even with the addition of a building at this site, removal of the existing portable structures will result in a decrease in impervious surfaces, which should decrease existing runoff.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carried.
5 is not applicable. 6, that the potential pollution hazards have been addressed and that standards have been met. Analysis states that the business does not utilize chemicals or products that should be contained separately from other wastes, such as hazardous materials, and that the applicant identified that vinyl is a recyclable material and solid waste will need to be managed following local and state requirements.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
7, that adequate utilities, access roads, drainage, and other necessary facilities have been or are being provided. Analysis states that this is an existing site with access and parking available, and that the home occupation should not require additional utilities than what currently exists.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
8, that adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide sufficient off-street parking and loading space to serve the proposed use. Analysis states that the existing road was meant to handle semi-traffic and loading and unloading of hogs, so it should more than accommodate the proposed use as well.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
9, not applicable. 10, that the interim use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of other property in the immediate vicinity for purposes already permitted. And analysis states that the surrounding properties are agricultural and residential in nature, and that this proposal will not impact existing uses and will likely be a less intense use than the previous operation.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
11, that the establishment of the interim use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding vacant property for predominant uses in the area. Analysis states that the establishment of a home-based business should not impede orderly development in the agricultural district, and that there are no setback requirements for businesses to feedlots, etc. Rather those are for the associated dwelling.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
12, that adequate measures have been or will be taken to prevent or control offensive odor, fumes, dust, noise, and vibrations so that none of these will constitute a nuisance, and to control lighted signs and other lights in such a manner that no disturbance to neighboring properties will result. Analysis states that the applicant has identified that there will be minimal noise and no exterior lights, and that home occupations are limited to minimal signage and are prohibited from having lighted signs.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
13, not applicable. 14, that the intensity of any proposed commercial or industrial development is not greater than the intensity of the surrounding uses or not greater than the intensity characteristic of the applicable zoning district. This analysis states that a small-scale window-making operation is similar to other home-based businesses previously permitted within the agricultural protection district and will likely have less impact on infrastructure than the larger farming operations in this vicinity.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
15, that the site-specific conditions and such other conditions are established as required for the protection of the public's health, safety, morals, and general welfare. An analysis states that this proposal should have minimal impact on public health, safety, morals, or general welfare and will only generate solid waste and have minimal risk to air or water quality.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
I make a motion, we approve the findings.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Carried. Findings approved.
So there's 5 conditions here?
Yes, so the recommendation is for approval, or recommend approval to the county board for the interim use of a level 2 home occupation consisting of construction of vinyl windows. And I have 5 conditions. The permittee shall comply with all federal, state, and local laws and regulations. 2, that the county may enter onto the premises at reasonable times and in a reasonable manner to ensure the permit holder is in compliance with the conditions and all of their applicable statutes, rules, and ordinances. 3, that the interim use permit is only valid if a dwelling is established on site. 4, that the permit shall expire if it is not renewed at or near 5-year intervals, and that the permit shall expire at such time that Benji or Martha Borntrager no longer own and maintain homestead status on the property described in the application. Number 5, that the maximum number of employees working on site shall not exceed 6 at any one time. And I did add a 6, that only 5,000 square feet of the proposed structure may be used for the home-based business, and that's to match, that's just ordinance language as well.
Ordinance is 5,000 or less.
Yep,
So they will have
if you're
to,
okay with that.
they will have to build their home before this permit is valid, correct?
Yep.
Would it be okay to put in a condition to acknowledge the fact that he's in an agriculture district and that there's noise, dust, smell happening?
Yeah.
Could we do that?
To just say, yeah, I was gonna find the language in the ordinance. The applicant acknowledges that this is agricultural districts and discomforts that may be experienced in the agricultural district apply at this location.
That's fine. That'd be
All right.
good.
Anything else?
I'll make a motion to recommend approval based on the 7 conditions.
I'll second it.
We're gonna roll call, or are we gonna?
Okay, roll call. Josh Graham,
Yes.
Franklin,
Aye.
Eric,
Aye.
Chase,
Aye.
Wayne,
Aye.
Larry,
Aye.
and John. So that'll go, these guys are a recommending body, so it'll go to the board for final approval on November 4th. And we can touch base on that here later. All right. So please take notice that an application has been made by Linda Hintz of Richfield Acres LLC at 18020 Truman Drive in Spring Grove for an interim use permit to operate a cannabis microbusiness in the Agricultural Protection District of, in Spring Grove Township. And that's in part of the east half of the southeast quarter, section 24, Township 101, range 7. Said applicant standing and making application is as fee owner of said described lands, and a hearing on this application will be held at the Houston County Commissioners Room in Caledonia at 6:50 p.m. on Thursday, October 23rd. All persons having an interest in the matter may attend the hearing or submit comments relative to the granting or denying of said application, and comments should be mailed to the Environmental Services Department at 304 South Marshall Street or emailed to the zoning office. It must be received by Tuesday, October 14th to be included for review prior to the hearing. All comments are considered part of the public record, and this was advertised on October 8th of 2025.
Thank you. Chair, Commissioners, thank you for having us. My name is Dusty Hins, and this is my friend and business partner, Clement Dabney. I'm a co-founder of an organic seed company called the Experimental Farm Network, which we started over 10 years ago. We offer over 600 different varieties of seeds, from vegetables to tree seeds, sourced from over 60 different growers from across the country. Some of these seeds I grow at our Spring Grove family farm, which is a couple miles south of town. Additionally, I co-own a small garden center in South Minneapolis called Agrarian Seed and Garden. 2025 was our 5th season. I run both of these operations with my brother Colty and his wife Kiera. And lastly, to just give some more backstory about what we're doing at our farm. I'm a big proponent of agroforestry and growing nut trees. At our farm, we now have over 4,000 chestnut trees planted on about 10 acres with plans to plant 10 more acres of chestnut as well as other fruits and nuts like hickory and hazelnut. The goal is for it to be a U-pick chestnut operation when the trees start producing in 10 years, making it a regional destination. Clemen has a PhD in plant biology from the University of Minnesota, where he studied cannabis genetics. He was the director of medical cannabis for the Red Lake Reservation in northern Minnesota, and the growing facility he developed is now used by Native Care, the reservation's recreational cannabis company. He now writes a monthly opinion column in the Minnesota Star Tribune on the state's rollout of cannabis legalization. Clemen was also the runner-up for Minnesota's director of the Office of Cannabis Management. But I guess him not getting that job was good for me, since now we're going into business together. I can honestly say that you would be hard-pressed to find a more qualified person that knows the law and has ample growing experience to open up a cannabis farm in Houston County. 3 years ago, Clemen started Dr. Dabs, a low-potency hemp edibles manufacturing company which has maintained a clean compliance record and is an expanding business. Together, we're formalizing a new partnership between Clemen and my family. After learning that Clemen received a preliminary micro license and that our Minneapolis Garden Center is zoned for a dispensary, we decided to combine forces. With Clemen's cannabis expertise and existing product line and our family's properties in both Minneapolis and Spring Grove, we are investing in Dr. Dabs to open the Minneapolis storefront and to add a small, well-controlled indoor cannabis flower farm at our Spring Grove land. We're proposing an interim use permit to start a small indoor cannabis farm in Spring Grove. We are expanding sustainably, adding indoor cultivation and on-site packaging of dried flowers here in Spring Grove and a separate dispensary in Minneapolis. At our property, we have a brand new building we just built last year that is perfect for our cannabis farm. It is 40 by 80, fully insulated with electricity, in-floor drainage, and a concrete floor. We also had solar panels recently installed this year, which will be used to supplement our electricity use. Our ask is narrow and low impact. Grow indoors and package trimmed, tested flower into sealed, labeled retail bags. We are not proposing hydrocarbon extraction, edibles production, vape manufacturing, or any on-site storefront. Product will be transplanted to our Minneapolis dispensary and to licensed buyers, including local partners such as Brent Welch at Tree Huggers in Caledonia. We're invested here and we spend our money here. Since purchasing our Houston County property in 2021, we've hired Morso Electric for shed wiring, Viking Electric for our new solar array with an expansion planned if approved. We bought a zero-turn mower from Ken Small Engine in Caledonia, a water system from Otting Water, fencing and numerous other supplies from Village Farm in Mabel, fuel at Hoka Co-op, lumber from Spring Grove Lumber, who always ask me how my chestnuts are doing, and also lumber from Ridgeview Lumber, who built our 5,000 square foot plus building, fertilizer through Farmers Wind Co-op, monthly internet through Spring Grove Communications, rock from Bruning Rock Products, Mar Excavating handled site work, Coyote Hill Excavating installed the septic, Bernot Concrete poured our slab. Larson Well Drilling did well work. Richard Sanitation Services supplied our dumpster. We have purchased farm implements from Midwest Machinery and Gailing Auction. Harvest support from Burn Land Improvements. Kelsey Burrows CPA prepares our taxes, and we've also hired Murphy Law Offices for some of our legal needs. And most importantly, I'm a regular patron at Fat Pat's Brewery. But in all seriousness, the spending shows up in our tax base. In 2022, the combined taxable market value of our farm was $528,300, with $2,252 in taxes. For 2025, it's $640,000 with $490 $4,946 in taxes, nearly double within 3 years. Approving our cannabis farm helps us continue to grow here. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention my amazing neighbors, George and Joanne Griffin. Since acquiring our farm in 2021, George and Joanne have been the best neighbors a guy could ask for. I refer to them as my guardian angels. They have helped me out constantly and in numerous ways. George has done all of our tractor work, plowing the field for prepping tree rows, cutting hay, and mowing between tree rows. George also spearheaded the effort to construct our new building, basically operating as our general contractor. His expertise with everything we have going on has been indispensable. Back in April, we planted 2,600 more chestnuts, and Joanne was out there planting trees every day we were out there. We have paid George and Joanne for their help, but let's just say they do not drive a hard bargain. They are honestly some of the most selfless people I have ever met. I go to them for advice all the time, and we are in frequent communication. I honestly don't know where our farm would be right now without them as my neighbors. If we get approved, we plan to hire George and Joanne to work at our indoor cannabis farm. They are excited about this idea as it will give them some winter work in a time of year when they have less going on. If approved, there will be various tasks to do as time goes on, and we plan to hire people locally. The only other thing I want to say is that while I was born and raised in the Twin Cities, I have developed a deep love for the Driftless region, and there is no other place I'd rather be building a sustainable farm from nut trees to cannabis flower. Thanks for your time, and I will hand it off to Clemon for some more particulars.
I just got one question.
Yeah.
So I've been following since the legalization of cannabis, and they've been waiting a long time to fill that position.
They have, yeah.
And they picked a lawyer over you?
They did.
I mean, you got some experience in this business. Why would they pick a lawyer?
I have no idea why they went that decision. I just think that he was a party man, and
That's what it takes, I guess, right?
yeah, that's what it is sometimes.
Yep. Go ahead, sorry.
Cool, I got it on the phone. I'll use the phone. Cool. Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about the scope and operations. So cultivation is going to occur in the sealed, negatively pressurized rooms with activated carbon filtration on every exhaust. We commit to a no detectable cannabis odor at the property line. Irrigation is closed-looped drip fertigation with zero process water discharge to ground or septic. Outside, the stormwater is managed so runoff stays clean and on site. Again, there's no retail traffic, just a few employee vehicles daily, scheduled freight pickups. The lighting, as we're legally required to have lighting on the entrances, will be dark sky compliant, and the security is going to be inward facing and non-intrusive to our neighbors. We're comfortable with the two proposed enforceable conditions. Our ask is narrow: approve an interim use permit limited to growing and packaging flower. We'll be accountable neighbors and a stable contributor to the county economy. Where Dr. Dabs, our request is narrow and low impact. There will be, again, no solvent extraction, no retail. We've already increased the taxable income at the property, and we keep our spend here locally in Houston County. Our facility will comply with state cannabis regulations, ensure secure storage, controlled access, and strict compliance with product safety standards. Security measures, odor control, and waste disposal plans will protect the public interest, safety, and welfare. So we ask that you please approve our interim use permit with the conditions proposed.
Okay, guys, questions for these gentlemen?
You're gonna ship it all to the Twin Cities then?
We hope to ship it to the Twin Cities as well as work with, I think Brent stores here in Tree Huggers in Caledonia here. So we hope to have as many local partners as possible.
And everything will be indoors?
Everything is indoors.
No outdoor grows?
No outdoor production at all.
As we have found out from our first cannabis permit that was issued, that has to be shipped in a security vehicle to the cities?
Correct.
according to state law?
Yep, we would, if we transported ourselves, which we're able with the micro business license, we have to register and get a car, like an endorsement to use one of our own vehicles, or we would have to use another business with a transportation license, which has gone through that process.
Now, are you living on site here, or where do you live at?
I live in Bloomington, Minnesota, but I think I'll be on site probably, I don't know, probably 3 to 4 days out of the week. And we hope to train Joanne in on, I guess, maintaining it daily.
I can also, I have a house up in Richfield, Minnesota, so just south of Minneapolis. In the warmer months, I'm down at the farm for 3 or 4 days every week or every other week. But really, George and Joanne are kind of our eyes down there, and they're always over at our place checking on things, making sure like my electric fences work, and I have every expectation they're basically probably going to be over there like every day, checking on things, and so. But there are days when no one is there, so no one is sleeping there.
And you have a pretty strict security system?
We plan to. We don't at the, we will, we absolutely, can you want to talk about that?
So if approved, we will have indoor cameras that there's no, I guess, indoor cameras that image the entire facility with no gaps in coverage. All entrances are required to have outdoor cameras. Each door access can only be accessed by employees with a specific key code, and then it tracks their entrances and exits of the building. Yeah, and I guess all waste is will be secured. All product is also secured. So yeah.
And all that is under the state guidance too, I mean.
Correct.
I mean, they'll inspect it and make sure you're doing it all right, right?
Correct, yep.
You sell those nut trees?
Not yet, but eventually when there's nuts coming off the trees, well, there'll probably be a small nursery going on as well.
Be a good idea.
So, actually, if you're interested in chestnuts, I have some from a farm in Iowa on our website right now, Red Fern Farm. They're maybe not quite as cold hardy as like ones grown here from Badger Set where I get most of mine, but
I've heard that deer really like chestnuts.
that's why I have a 3D deer fence up.
Got a squirrel fence up?
I'm not worried about the squirrels. It's just the deer.
Getting back to the cannabis growing, there is no future outlook to be growing outside.
Correct, no future. So, license require, I guess, in Minnesota, you cannot split your square footage. So if you choose to do indoor, you have to stay indoor. If you go outdoor, you have to stay outdoor. And our plan is to only grow indoor.
Would you have
And
to?
we will not ever grow outdoor.
Would you have to reapply for a new license if you went outdoor? Or is it not even possible?
It's not even possible.
No, yeah. I think you can do outdoor grows, but it has to be like razor wire fenced in.
Oh, yeah,
essentially.
yeah.
I went to one
But
of
I mean,
them.
but you can't do both, so.
We cannot do both.
Yeah, it's
no.
either indoor or outdoor.
Correct.
One or the other.
Yep.
Growing indoors is also super important because otherwise, like if you're growing outdoors, the male pollen will cause there to be a bunch of seeds in your product. So basically, making it indoor controls the pollen, and then you can have seedless flower.
It also allows you to grow a higher quality product because you can control the environmental variables inside the grow room.
So you worked helped Red Lake get started?
I did. So I was.
They were the very first.
They were, yeah. So they hired me back when I was finishing up my thesis at the University of Minnesota. So I guess when I was working on my thesis, I was working for them to set up a medical cannabis production facility as well as policy. And then quickly legalization started happening and they pivoted, and the facility I built out was their first grow facility for their recreational company.
They've kind of gotten a leg up on everything, haven't they?
They did. They got quite the head start.
I have a question. Getting to this cannabis marijuana stuff. It first started out as medical marijuana, didn't it?
Yep,
Through prescription.
correct.
How do you see it beneficial besides the medical status of this?
I think like, so Minnesota's medical program, essentially when it's first started, you basically kind of had to be dying or significantly sick. They slowly kind of included more and more conditions to it, but there's still only about 50,000 Minnesotans on that have like a medical card. So I think it just increases access to the average person to acquire cannabis for sleep or inflammation, or if they want another option on a Friday night. Did that answer what you're looking for?
Yes, their question was, I'm full of questions.
I like them.
Is there a test for marijuana in your system? Say a person goes overboard, like there is alcohol. Is there a medical test for the law officials to designate your incompetence behind the wheel of a vehicle?
I know that they were working on one. I don't know if it is currently being instituted by Minnesota law enforcement though. But I know that they have field tests that can tell marijuana from hemp products. But yeah, that I'm not 100% sure if they're completely enacted for drink, like kind of like a smoke and drive versus drink and drive.
There's a pilot program the state patrol's working on.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions for him?
For the findings of fact.
Oh, we've got to go to public.
Yeah, I got a little public comment, yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Is there anybody?
You can take your seat.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment on the matter? Any public comment? Okay, we'll go to the findings. We got any to strike?
I make a motion to strike 5, 9, 13, and 14.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
I should get a second on it.
Yeah, John
Oh,
seconded
I
it.
didn't, sorry.
Hard to hear.
Okay,
So number one, that the proposed use conforms to the county land use plan. Analysis states that the goals of the land use plan balance economic development and agriculture. This particular proposal will retain the agricultural use of the property and also promote diversified economic development as encouraged in the plan.
all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Two, that the applicant demonstrates a need for the proposed use. Analysis states that the applicant has received preliminary approval from OCM and now needs to secure local government approval before he can proceed with OCM.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Three, that the proposed use will not degrade the water quality of the county. Analysis states that the indoor operation will utilize a closed-loop system to minimize water needs and allow for treatment per MPCA requirements.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Four, that the proposed use will not adversely increase the quantity of water runoff. Analysis states that this application states that a recently constructed structure will be utilized, but also discusses construction and adherence to proper erosion control and stormwater management best practices. Overall, regardless of any future construction, this type of proposal should not adversely increase water runoff.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Five, not applicable. So six, that potential pollution hazards have been addressed and that standards have been met. Analysis states that the applicant identifies that all nutrients, fertilizers, and chemicals will be stored within secondary containment, that odor mitigation practices will be in place, and waste materials will be managed in compliance with state cannabis regulations, which should all help to mitigate potential pollution hazards.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carried.
7, that adequate utilities, access roads, drainage, and other necessary facilities have been or are being provided. Analysis states that all utilities, access roads, and facilities are existing, and that any extensions or upgrades will be the responsibility of the applicant.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
8, that adequate measures have been or will be taken to provide sufficient off-street parking and loading space to serve the proposed use. Analysis states that the location will have more than enough space to accommodate parking for employees, inspectors, or service vehicles, and in addition, there will be a dedicated loading zone on site.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
9, not applicable, and 10, that the interim use will not be injurious to the use and enjoyment of all other property in the immediate vicinity for the purposes already permitted. Analysis states that since this operation will be fully contained indoors and meet standards set forth by the Office of Cannabis Management, it should not be injurious to properties in the immediate vicinity. Careful management of odor control mitigation will be important since predominant winds are from the northwest and the closest dwelling will be a direct recipient of those predominant winds.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
11, that the establishment of the interim use will not impede the normal and orderly development and improvement of surrounding vacant property for predominant uses in the area. Analysis states that the predominant use in the area is agricultural, and this use is consistent with those operations, nor will it impede other development.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
12, that adequate measures have been or will be taken to prevent or control offensive odor, fumes, dust, noise, and vibration, so that none of these will constitute a nuisance, and to control lighted signs and other lights in such a manner that no disturbance to neighboring properties will result. Analysis states that the primary concern for this proposal is odor, and the applicant identifies multiple measures will be taken to mitigate odor concerns. In addition, noise is limited to typical building operations, and there will be no dust or vibrations as a result of the operation. Exterior lighting will be downward facing and limited to security lighting to reduce visibility from neighboring properties.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
13 and 14 are not applicable, so 15, that site-specific conditions and such other conditions are established as required for the protection of the public's health, safety, morals, and general welfare. Analysis states that in order to operate, the applicant will have to receive final approval from the Office of Cannabis Management, and that approval will confirm that they have met all state requirements intended to mitigate concerns related to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Motion carried. I just have one quick question for you guys, and it doesn't apply a lot, but it says here your fertilizer will be stored in secondary containment. Is that a state requirement? Are you guys just doing that, or you're just, oh, no, I'm just asking, so. Good enough. It's not a requirement, okay. Just for knowledge.
Could you come back up here, both of you? Do you know if carbon filters for you're gonna have an exhaust out of that building, or
I think there is one exhaust out of the building, yeah.
is carbon filters required by the state or not?
You don't necessarily have to use carbon filters, but it's like the best option.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys plan on doing that, or?
Yes. Yeah.
You do? Okay. So I know we've added that in a condition before. So it's okay if we put that on for a condition? use
Correct.
Carbon
Yep.
filters? Okay. I think we should add that for a third condition.
We added that on the first one, didn't we?
First one.
Yep.
What was the plants?
Oh, yeah.
There's plants that, the plants that take the odor away. Why am I drawing a blank?
I think that was, yeah,
Why was that?
there was I think it's just more of a concern with outdoor grows.
That was outdoor.
Probably
grow?
can
Yeah.
comment on that more than.
The name of it escapes me now, but
It was like basil,
There's
we
three.
don't know how to
That was
pronounce it,
one of them.
Calendula and,
Skunk.
there's a third one too that was recommended in them.
They're close to Dorchester, leave them alone.
Okay.
But the carbon filters are not a problem?
Not a problem.
Yeah, we did put that in on.
Yep. We'll add that.
We had a fence on that one too.
Yeah, but this is indoor only, so we don't, fences, I
You
don't know.
don't have to fence that.
Yeah, there's nothing to fence.
Don't you? Oh,
Yeah, the indoor production doesn't require a fence. The outdoor production.
that was the greenhouses.
Right.
Okay,
Greenhouses and
Okay.
another, and
sorry.
They were gonna do greenhouse, yeah, yep.
Okay.
Out of curiosity, if, you know, the business goes well, we need more space in the future, or is that building size can grow a significant amount of product?
We will need more space in the future if the business goes well. So hopefully.
There's still a limit on 5,000.
Yeah, our micro business license caps us at 5,000 square feet. And we're gonna do a vertical farm in there, so we'll have 2 levels. So I think we're about 2,400 square feet. So we would have to add a little bit more space if we are able to grow.
We're all getting educated today.
Awesome.
Anybody else have anything? Okay, thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you for your time.
We have to,
We accept the findings?
no, we have to accept the findings.
I'll make a motion to accept or approve the findings.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Okay, so I have a motion to recommend the Houston County Board approve an interim use permit for a cannabis microbusiness with a cultivation and manufacturing endorsement in the Ag Protection District with 4 conditions in Spring Grove Township. It'll be 1, the permittee shall comply with all federal, state, and local laws and regulations. 2, the county may enter onto the premises at reasonable times and in a reasonable manner to ensure the permit holder is in compliance with the conditions and all other applicable statutes, rules, and ordinances. 3, that carbon filters must be on all buildings. And 4, that they must plant and maintain scent masking plants such as lavender, calendula, and basil. Is that what you guys were looking for?
Oh, I was just asking, I wasn't
Oh,
necessarily.
okay.
Because this is indoor?
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah, I don't know if that would be something necessary to do, would it?
no, I was
An indoor.
asking because of the
Yeah,
first one.
yeah.
I
Okay.
wasn't.
Lavender was the,
So next,
Lavender.
next the 4th one.
okay.
Next, the 4th one, yes.
So there isn't any regulations that the commissioners will put on this application? I mean,
I don't
is
know if there will be or not.
Well, if we put some on, you know that.
Yep.
The commissioners overrule us every time on these here. I think maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but I think they think we're incompetent because we try to use everybody the same, and the last 2, we've been overruled that. So I want to make it clear now, if there's anything that we get it in the motion so that it doesn't make the board look bad. That's what I'm fishing for.
Well, I'm only one of the 5, Franklin, so, and I don't think any of them think anybody here is incompetent.
Well, that's
So
the feeling I get.
if there's gonna be more conditions that they will wanna put on, I can't say to that. I can't speak to that, but.
Well, what I'm trying to get here is if there is any, we better cover them, is what I'm.
Right, well, I thought of the ones that I could think of, that's all I can say, so.
Anything else come to mind?
Questions?
Well,
Need a motion?
get a motion to approve the,
I wanna say.
I was losing my words here.
Recommend approval.
Yes. Motion to recommend approval.
I'll make a motion. with the three stipulations.
Do we have a second? You'll second it? Do we roll call this?
I can roll call. Franklin?
Aye.
Eric?
Aye.
Chase?
Aye.
Wayne?
Aye.
Larry? Jonathan?
Aye.
And Josh?
Aye.
Yeah, so same thing, you'll go to board for final approval then on November 4th. And we can touch base on that prior to that date. You don't have to be, it's kind of up to you. I know we're behind, do you guys need a quick 5?
Yeah, I do, yes. Thank you.
So, thank you guys for your patience. We'll reconvene here at
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Go down to the. You know, the lacrosse guy didn't.
Do you guys need water? I think we have some in the office.
You got bottles? Not yet.
There are some there, aren't there? Bottled water? It's not cold, but at the, in the office?
It's wet. The one
Yeah.
on the West Channel Bridge area, he's not got the one in there.
Do you wanna go grab like half?
I haven't heard anything since.
I think he just dropped it.
Problem with drinking too much water, then you gotta have breaks that much.
That's right, This is.
That's why I don't sit and suck it.
He's the same guy that was supposed to too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's got 3 guys growing for him right now. That's interesting.
He was the one that was gaming the lottery, trying to getting all these dummies to fly, and then he'd buy them out for $100,000. I told you all that. There's a I hadn't heard that. I guess I don't know.
Well, when you drive through there, the sign, he says he's changing his location.
Oh, really?
You know what I did?
But he hadn't started up anything yet.
That's why he didn't invest any money in it. So, yeah, I proposed to the DOT, I proposed him to put a all circle thing in there.
A roundabout?
Yeah. I think that would be the right thing to do.
Yeah.
They didn't say no, but they said their traffic was gonna check it out. I went to Rochester one day. I knew Kermit McCrae good, and I knew all, those guys were all straight shooters. Told them, I says, let's put a stop sign there. Because everybody has to turn left. And when they get out of there, you can arrest them all when they get there. You know what the sheriff told me in La Crosse? He can't do that. He says that this jail won't fit them all. And he told me, he says, you know, we already got cameras on the bridge, so we know who's coming
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Cameras on the bridge.
All we gotta do is
Sure.
your comprehensive.
Went over there just for the hell of it to see if I could talk to him. He invited me in and he talked like you wouldn't
Cause
believe.
if the commissioners overrule us, they'll overrule us anyway.
I told him, I said, we're not doing a sting operation.
And all this meening is
Arrest them all and charge them $1.
This is not, this
He says they'll get sick of that.
acquisitions. It's recommendations.
Well, the city of La Crosse lowered their fine to $1. So what
Presentation is it?
They've had
many
they've
too.
I'm not sure.
my energy and then that meeting.
sits on this.
Somebody's lying.
That's her job is to be a salesman.
The guy had it one night, but we had a
just
short.
worry about.
Oh, my goodness. She's all this one on.
That's right. That's the whole thing.
When it goes belly up, she's gonna be long gone.
The only thing I didn't like about this one is not from
Do I say? Oh, we might as well say it so it shortens things up, huh? Do you read through it or do I?
We're left, don't we?
Oh, just got that.
Sorry, I'm a little
public hearing on
gassed
the
yesterday from
forest
yesterday.
thing.
I don't even know how.
Draft ordinance. We don't need to decide nothing today, it's just gonna be for input.
Oh, I tell you what, here's what happened.
Any public comment unless we ask more?
Claire Olson did that application
Just,
for,
just mention that one.
Ben.
Oh, Christ, did you see that in the paper?
Okay, you know what that.
Like I said, I'm a little foggy
This
from
is-
yesterday, sorry.
Basically just.
Really, I am. Huh?
They're not actually,
We have to vote.
Well,
Okay.
I look like
Yeah.
a dipshit, so that's why. I say that.
kind of skimmed over this thing.
We're on recording, so I'll keep my mouth shut.
You can say whatever you want, I said it.
I don't think,
I had,
I think he just used that.
that where this thing, I got this stuff in here now to keep me numb for 4 days. It releases.
Next meeting, we gotta decide.
Well, very close, similar.
But that picture that they had, this lady, that's Mother Nature.
Oh, yeah, that's terrible.
They ain't got nothing to do with it.
I had my 7th surgery yesterday, and I got 2 more before the end of the year.
DNR should fix that.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a lot younger than you. So I told her and I told
That
her.
Bobcat really looks good.
Yeah, it is.
Huh?
I think it's got just as much color as that.
Have they not called the state?
Have you had
Have they not talked to the state?
30? Holy man.
Oh. You're in the Houston County, so it's
Not here, but to them, right?
5 acres in Pine Woods.
No, I get 1 a month for the next 2 months.
I'm thinking that,
Oh,
It's supposed to. It seems like they're walking all over that though.
Right along with the
they
other.
think I had a
I think we need to.
Should we get rolling?
make sure
Yeah,
that
you
that's
can,
protected at all.
you want me or you?
Can we call them?
Right there. Where do I pound on though? Just the. You laugh.
Guy next to you.
A lot of people that want this solar, but I tell you.
Okay, guys, it's 8 o'clock and
Gotta,
some people want to get home, so I guess we're gonna roll here.
my sister bought a solar house.
right.
in the Twin
I'll just read the notice quick.
Yes,
Um,
notice please.
Please take notice that a public hearing pursuant to Minnesota Statute 394.26 will be held in Houston, at the Houston County Commissioners Room at 7:10 PM on Thursday, October 23rd. The Planning Commission will discuss the draft of the proposed ordinance regulating commercial solar and related comprehensive land use plan amendments in Houston County. All persons having an interest in the matter are invited to attend the hearing or submit comments, and comments should be mailed to the Environmental Services Department or emailed to zoning and must be received by Tuesday, October 14th of 2025 to be included for review prior to the hearing. All comments are considered public record, and copies of the proposed ordinance will be available for viewing online under ordinances, and hard copies can be requested from the zoning office. And this was advertised on October 8th of 2025. Before I forget, there were those, Michelle handed out the two, I think it was just 2 additional comments that we received after the board packet or memo kind of went out. The one had that video in it, if you guys took the time to watch that. Otherwise, I just wanted to touch base again. Our moratorium will be ending the end of December. And so, since we met last time, which was in May, and those minutes with the public comments were included in your packet as well, so you could review what had been discussed at that point. Since then, we made some modifications to the ordinance, and those were highlighted in the draft that you guys got sent. These were, the whole draft was reviewed by Great Plains Institute, who help local government units put together ordinances for alternative energies, and I think a bunch of different things, but they did some just minor updates, and then the major part of that was adding a section on agrivoltaics. That all stemmed from discussion on, I think that we had from that May hearing, from some different public comments, and then also your comments, but also from some input that they had received that the U of M received at a workshop that we held in August. And so the whole purpose of that agrivoltaic language was to kind of help offset some of the concerns with utilizing prime ag ground for these proposals. I guess what I'm looking for from you guys tonight is we'll do some public comment again to get anything additional from what, new for these particular updates, or if people didn't have a chance to speak before. And then just some direction for you guys, from you guys, if you have any additional items that you think we should take a look at. And then my goal is to put together, or we need to put together a proposal for a final draft for the November public hearings, so that can go to the board for final approval in December. So, leave it up to you guys.
I just want to note, we got the meeting guidelines posted for this. Kind of try and limit it to 3 minutes if it was said at the last meeting. Just kind of note that. I guess if you have a presentation and it runs a little over, that's fine. But want to try and keep it non-repetitive, please. So here we go.
So what you're looking for tonight, correct me if I'm wrong, is you want direction from the planning commission on what we're thinking for potential changes to your projected zoning change or whatever. Isn't that what you're kind of looking for?
Yep, regardless, I'd like to make some ordinance amendments. I guess originally as proposed to the board and I think to you guys in May, was we could leave our comp plan alone, and the updates to the zoning ordinance would be strictly to clarify some of the inconsistent items in there, and it would be applicable to accessory use solar only, which is solar that's accompanying or on somebody's house or attached to like their business. There's a primary use there with, like I said, either business, like milk parlors, there's a few of them, or most of them are dwellings. The second option, which is what this draft was developed for, was to allow commercial solar, limit the size of it, and originally was set to limit some of the prime soils that you could use, and it still does, but as you could read that if you incorporate agrivoltaic methods, then it eliminated that prime soils requirement. And then along with that, it also included an amendment to the comprehensive land use plan.
So we have, if we adapt this, we have to change our comprehensive land use plan then?
Yeah, a minor change, I guess, and just incorporating the alternative energies for commercial use. And that is supposed to be an evolving document. So, I mean, they're 10 to 20 year plans, so things can change during that time. So I don't think it's unreasonable if you guys want to go that route.
So I guess I'm not trying to pick anything apart here. I'm just trying to get a grasp on what's going on. Are we supposed to change our comprehensive land use plan every time a new entity jumps into the county or a new proposal? I'm just asking. I'm not trying to tell anybody anything. What is our comprehensive land use plan? How does it read?
Is it in here?
Because our cropland is most important.
Well, I'd like to have it read. That's why I asked.
It was in here, wasn't it, Amelia?
I thought so.
Thought I saw it too.
So the alternative energy systems section, the goal is encourage options for alternative energy systems in the county. But then the policy, there is only one policy, and it says review and explore standards and permitting requirements for alternative energy systems used for personal use or by individual residences or businesses. So that was pretty limiting, and if we were looking at a commercial project, I don't know that the land use plan supports that.
Well, I personally have a problem with building on prime land because
I think we all do.
we can't build a house on prime land. We're supposed to protect. I wished I had 1,000 acres of prime land myself to farm, and that's just my personal opinion.
So Amelia, in your draft ordinance here, you talk about, can you repeat how you pronounce that again?
Agrivoltaic.
Agrivoltaic. Okay. So you got here, it says, interim uses in agricultural protection district cannot be located on more than 5 acres of prime agriculture soils as classified by the Houston County Soil Survey. Large SES that is proposed to be and maintained as agrivoltaic site for the life of the project supported by agrivoltaic management plan and soil health protections consistent with this are exempt from the prime soils. I mean, you've mentioned it before, but I just want to verify that's what it reads. So if they have a agrivoltaic plan, then prime soils, it doesn't matter.
Yep, and that,
You can have as many as they want.
yep, and that was a recommendation coming from Great Plains Institute.
Yeah.
And that it was meant to incentivize, people going the dual use route and keeping agriculture involved in the proposal.
All right.
So a hypothetical question here, if the planning commission made a motion recommendation that you could not build on prime land, commercial solar is only on marginal land, then if this was the case, then it goes to the commissioners for approval or denial? Is that what would happen?
They are the end, yep, they are the
Oh,
final
they are, but
approvals,
I mean,
yep.
is that where it would stop? If we did that, I'm just saying, I'm asking a hypothetical question.
Well, it'll come back to you guys next month first, so I suppose you could change your mind. But then, yes, it would go to the board for final approval.
Yeah, so what you're asking here is just input on this.
Yep,
And then you would incorporate our input and put it in here and then come back in November for a look at it again.
yep. I got the draft from Great Plains Institute kind of late, and so I don't think it got posted on the website even till Monday. And so I don't feel comfortable necessarily moving forward with that right now. And so I'm looking for your guys' input today, and if that's something you want to change as just to marginal ground, I will incorporate that into the draft, and then we'll bring it back in November for a final review from you guys, and then you can make a recommendation to the board.
So would this be in a form of a motion if this was a thing, or would this just be individual comments? How would you?
Yep, just individual comments.
Okay.
Watch your movie you told us to watch. That was a good movie,
Oh,
yeah. And if you could incorporate working with the smaller animals and keeping a solar farm, that would be a great thing, you know.
So these summary of this results of this U of M thing here, you go through that and you read that. And I was surprised when I went through and read this in the summary of the results. And it kind of, it confirmed to me, because I was a part of the committee that was on the land use when we redid our comprehensive land use plan. So I was in part of that. Had a lot of meetings, a lot of public input. And I was surprised that the results of this, that the summary results was, it kind of confirms what we did with our comprehensive land use plan. I mean, the biggest concern is the prime farmland use for solar. And, it's something that people really don't wanna see. I mean, it says right here that, agrivoltaics was discussed and generally viewed favorably, with grazing and vegetable production seen as the most likely compatible uses. Solar development that would impact the use of primary agricultural land was generally not supported. And I think that's why, when we did our comprehensive land use plan, that was one of our number one goals, is to preserve prime farmland in Houston County. And to keep Houston County rural agricultural based. And a lot of this, what is talked about here, whether it be aesthetics, natural resources, energy, I think it just confirms what we did. I mean, what Franklin brought up about the marginal, I could live with that. If we could allow solar development on marginal ground, that would be fine.
But my own personal opinion is I don't think we should allow 20 acres on marginal land either. That's my opinion. If we're gonna put it on marginal land, just my idea, 10 acres. Maybe I'm out in left field, I don't know.
You know, if you really think about this, the solar thing could come and go. Cause it did already once up in Twin Cities. My sister bought a solar house, tore it all off. You know, and you gotta think, you know, why would you do that? You know,
But then Wayne, if you were on the other end of the spectrum and you were selling solars, you wouldn't talk like that.
no, I wouldn't, but.
You'd give a sales pitch for it.
Yeah.
I'm not using this as no excuse or anything, but I called up to My Energy about 2 months ago. I said, I'm gonna put in a solar system. Well, let me connect you with the right person. So, anyway, oh yes, you use a lot of kilowatts. You can put a big solar in. And I says, how big can I put in? Well, I'll send you information what you can have. I said, I want to build it 3 times as big. Why do you want to build it 3 times as big? I said, well, I want to get in on the ground floor. I want to make some money. We won't take your kilowatts. I said, why not? Because we're losing money on them solars. Now, I understand the commercial solars are different than the farm solars. I understand that. But that kind of tells me right there that maybe this isn't as good as when they came out with high button shoes, you know, that's kind of the way I surmise
You
it.
gotta look at the people who actually did this already. I know people in Winona County that did it, and they find in the wintertime, you barely break even. In the summertime, you make some money. But in the wintertime, he figured it was 10 to 12 years before it would pay off, you know? And that's the life of the solar units. And you have the risk of hail and everything else, and if it hails on it, it's done.
But
Yeah.
what I had to say has nothing to do with our decision on the solars for the county.
You guys are kind of quiet on this end.
Sometimes you just need to listen.
You gotta figure on a cloudy day, you're not gonna get nothing. You know, on a rainy day, you get nothing. How many rainy days did we have this year?
Yeah,
Many.
that's also like the risk they're taking too, so.
Yep, that is their risk.
Did we only get 2 comments?
The two additional, there was the one in the packet. And it was just simply a letter, but she had multiple kind of extra information. If you guys did want to take a look at that, we can get you copies. So there was the one in the packet that went out, and then yes, the 2 additional.
The 2-page one we got.
Yep.
One of the packets from Halverson.
The 2-page one.
Nope, that one is from Center for Rural Affairs.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I think she provided comment last time around too.
Yep. The one from, what about Halverson's?
His is one of the 2, yeah, his is one of the 2 new ones.
I mean, his comment kind of hits the nail on the head, the way I feel anyway, but.
With reference to property rights and that the comp plan was.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe can you, like, on prime agricultural soils today, what are the things you can do right now? So like, what would we making this equivalent to?
So it's probably easier to say that the one thing you can't do on prime ag soils is build a dwelling unless you have 40 acres or more. Otherwise, you can still put up an egg shed. You can, septic systems can go in there. Your accessory buildings can go there. If you have a non-farm dwelling, so that has to be on marginal soils. Your accessory building, though, can go on prime ag soils. There's no restriction. It's just that when the ordinance was developed, they called a farm 40 acres, and then and with the idea that a farm, you could build a house wherever you wanted. So there's no restriction on, outside of setbacks and things like that, no soils restriction on those.
So just thinking out loud, if we allowed solar on prime ag land, would we essentially be saying as a county that we value solar higher than building homes? Right, because we don't allow it today.
Solar.
Yeah, you're saying if you look at allowing solar on like a 10 to 20 acre parcel, like kind of what's being proposed.
We would essentially be saying we value that higher than building homes.
Right.
That's where I think it gets a little interesting. I'm very pro, it's your land, you should be able to operate as you see fit on your land. I think most residents would probably struggle to say solar should be a higher priority than housing for the county.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'd say it's like split, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm pro, it's your land, you should be able to do what you want, but there's already rules in place that essentially limit X, Y, and Z, and is this a higher priority for the county than that? That's kind of where.
Well, we recently turned down a development of houses on prime farmland in the Crescent area.
Yeah, we did. When you fly across the country, you see a lot more windmills than you do solar farms. So I flew to Kansas City and back. There weren't many solar farms there.
How many people have been turned down since you've been there? Less than 40, a proposal to build on prime ag, less than 40. And how many people in this county have been turned down? Less than 40. And like Josh said, now we're Now we're saying you can do a commercial setup on less than 40. We had a lot of people that got turned down
Yep.
because of it. And
What's worse, if they build it, they don't make any money. See, that's what you're looking at right now.
Well, that,
yeah, that,
They put on these roofs, these big roofs, they barely break even.
we're
but
focused on.
we don't consider what.
Doesn't really matter if you lose money. That's
We're
not-
making an ordinance.
Well, they don't realize it though.
Yeah, well, that's their venture they wanna get into, so.
This has been kind of a main question for the Township Association of Houston County. Being president of the Township Association, we've asked this a couple times. And the first time, it was no prime ag land, period. Then we put a moratorium on it, an extra 6-month moratorium on it, to more study being done on it. But the feeling is still the same from the Houston Township Association supervisors. They don't want to use the prime ag land. The prime ag land is meant for agriculture.
But they don't have a problem with solar, it's just the prime ag land.
They did not say that. If there was like a different category, we could put it on, say, pasture,
Marginal ground.
marginal ground. But
I think that makes
ag
sense.
land, I don't think we should, this here public comment from Jeff Halverson, I think hits the nail on the head. Don't change what we have. It took us so long to make.
You gotta realize these things only have a 20-year life.
Yep.
So they gotta be tore down in 20 years. What do you wanna, these companies are gonna go broke doing that.
But see, that's not our concern with the
That's not part of an
company.
ordinance, yeah.
Well, it'll be addressed as a concern for decommissioning.
That, yes.
Right. So at the end of use life, there's gonna be decommissioning rules.
Correct.
Yep.
I know, being in the same farm for 73 years, we've always wished to had some prime ag land instead of farming slopes, contour strips. We all wish we could have some prime ag land. I happened to acquire some 3 years ago, which I'm proud as heck I did, for a future generation to take over. And my own opinion, I think we should ask the board individually what we think. Me, myself, I want to keep the ordinance the same. Off prime ag land, period. Save it for agriculture. You get this stuff on the ag land, say 20 years, it's out of production. Another thing is, what happens to this so-called solar panels if the company goes out of business? Who pays for the removal of all this stuff?
My energy.
Is there cement in the ground holding these pillars? I don't know.
Yep, there are decommissioning requirements. And I think we had bonding in
But it
there.
probably never would, the way prices are going, would it cover the costs of the decommissioning?
Well, if we could find a desert in Houston County, that'd be perfect for us.
Do they have to be bonded or allocate money for the decommissioning? We know. I'm asking.
That's usually how it would work. So
You'd either be bonded or
somebody be-
allocated.
you put up a bond, yep.
Escrow bond or irrevocable letter of credit.
Okay.
And that's worded as a
Get
may.
any comments from the public? We should get,
Should we go to should we go to public
I
comment?
think we should.
yeah, let's go to public.
That's fine. Well, again, like we said, guys, try and
Come on, let's
not
say
repeat
something.
too much, but
Came here,
all
you may
means
as well
3
say
minutes.
something.
Sherry Allen, we're the landowners, and I won't repeat what I have at other meetings, but I wanted to clarify to Josh's question. We own more than the 20 acres, so the way I understand the law, if I wanted to build a house out there, I could build a house out there because you can build a house per 40 acres. So it's not really stating that solar is more important than a house. It is just something else. I could go and request a big, huge building to be set out there. So I just wanted to clarify that because it's not that we only own 20 acres and we're putting the solar on the 20 acres. We own the whole more than 40 acres, right? So we could smack a house or a building or whatever out there if we wanted to, right? That's not what we're choosing to do. We're choosing to have animals under the solar. And my personal opinion is I think that's better for the soil than the row crops. And that's just my personal opinion, probably not my husband's personal opinion, but.
Does he get any opinions?
Yeah, he can have his opinion too, but I really like I like the idea of having the animals. I think it gives us some diversity as well on our land from what else we have on our land. So that's really all I have to say. I think you guys have heard from.
She had us watch a movie that had goats or, what was it, sheep mostly? And they ran it right under the solar panels. That looked really good.
Yeah, we've seen quite a bit of that, and we're friends with Ryan. I think he may speak, so I'll let him speak to that.
Okay,
thank you, Sherry.
make him talk.
Let's do some more public comment if you have it.
Thank you for the introduction, Sherry. I'm Ryan Herman, Houston County resident and farmer, and sheep farmer. Never thought I'd be saying that. I was a cattle guy, but I got into sheep. So Josh had one comment last time about Class 1 ag land, and I certainly have some. I was reviewing the soil survey myself. On my farm, and I converted the whole farm to grass 20 years ago and haven't looked back. So, that video that got sent to you guys, that is what I'm certified to do. There's another gentleman here that's actively doing it in a large way, and he'll speak too. But, from the public comment that you guys received, talking about all the soil health quality, water quality, grazing sheep under solar panels hits all of those things. It does a really great job at that. So, one thing that I want to bring up is, again, I was able to put my land in grass. Nobody said I had to grow crops on it. Would they be able to put their land in CRP? Right? I mean, nobody needs permission for that either, right?
Great.
So the way I look at it is, yes, there's solar, there would be solar on it, and that's the dual use. But underneath it, it's still agriculture. I mean, I've got to manage my land because I put all of it, in the grass, so I have to manage it highly,
You bale a lot then.
No, I intensively graze animals.
Oh, really?
And it gets better every year. Yep, more animals every year. Carrying capacity increases when you do it the right way. And that's what I do. I know that Arlo, the other gentleman here, that's what he does. That's how they do it, and that's what Beth's company requests.
Mhm.
They do that. They seek that out, that dual use for all the beneficial reasons. And, they want to see agriculture continue underneath these panels too.
How high the panels are when you build them?
Ideally, the front edge would be 2.5 feet off the ground, but that's some of, you know, where Beth would get into that. When you have rolling ground,
Yeah.
it gets to be an engineering nightmare to get
Yep.
these panels to pitch.
I know
the
Tom
way that
Hicks
they
has some
should.
down there.
Yeah, and
It's an engineering nightmare.
yeah, yeah. And so if it gets too close to the ground, that can be trouble for the sheep as they articulate, get too close to the ground. So,
That video was really good.
yeah,
I'm
that
glad
was well done.
But them sheep are pretty sure-footed, so they could get it over the hill on marginal land too.
They absolutely do.
Good.
Yep.
I don't mean it as a joke, I mean it as.
Yep. They actually like the highland at my place. They like sitting on top of the hill. They can see all the predators coming.
Really.
That's all I had unless you have questions for me directly.
Is your husband gonna talk?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Some more public comment?
Yes, I'm Sherry's husband.
Here's your opinion.
I think everybody here that might know me, my family, I ultimately, other than my family, I love being a farmer. It's a great privilege. And I said this before, a year and a half ago, my son and I were standing right where the solar project potentially would be. And we both looked at each other and we thought, what the hell are we doing? Because it's beautiful soil. I'm going to be honest with you. It's good ground, so I'm not going to dispute that. So I was not for it at first. The part that I do want to echo is that it's not just my decisions. My wife, she owns that property equally as well, and she has some different passions, and she sees that our farm can grow as a farm, but not just be a farm that's for row crop only, you know. I'm gonna point at every one of you behind that table. Tomorrow morning, you're gonna get up and you're gonna be combining your corn, your beans, you're gonna be hauling corn. I see you going to Cargill because I'm going there too. And you're doing that so someday Eric can possibly buy more prime ag land. Okay? So if all of a sudden somebody unintentionally puts a roadblock in front of Eric, he's gonna dig his heels in. I'm not saying we wanna have a discrepancy or a fight about this, but like Josh said, it is our farm, our Eric's farm. You know, everybody owns property to some extent, and tomorrow we hope to build a small or medium or large legacy for our family for the future. That is probably why I am for this. I want to see. There is some lucrative, it's not like we're gonna be able to be raising $18 corn on this ground. I did the math. There's years where we would be better off raising row crops. But I also love my wife, and I give her just as much respect in these decisions as I do. And I just wanna make sure that it's understood that, yes, as the county looks at it, it's considered commercial, I get it. In our hearts, it's considered farming. It truly is. It's doing multiple actions, having the sheep grazing. Sherry, she's not only beautiful, she's really frickin' smart, and she made a good point. She said this is an opportunity to introduce agritourism and, you know, start bringing things. So I understand everybody has their opinions. You have a big decision to make, or at least give Amelia some thoughts. But just look at some of the other items. That's all I ask. And consider it, if you were on this side of the table, how your stance would be. Okay, so I appreciate it. I thank everybody. I support our community greatly, and I thank you.
Well, I appreciate your comments, Andy. I'm still at the point where you were a year and a half. I'm stuck there.
How do you mean as far as?
Prime soils.
Oh.
Want to continue to farm it. If you wanted to put sheep on that, you could do that.
I understand.
You know?
I understand. It's a hard, it really is. And I would like for it to be something that the county, I know you guys are gonna go, what are you saying? I would like to see for this to be something the county could hang their hat on. Something that's been done first in our county, you know, again, working in partnership with people like Ryan Herman and Arlo. Again, we're gonna agree or we're gonna disagree, but you guys wanted me to come up here. I was fine sitting back there. So.
Thanks for coming.
But you talk much better than your wife.
No.
Oh.
Any other?
Yeah. So I think one point you made right away, I think this is where I'm torn on it, because I feel 100% it's your land. You should have a ton of freedom to be able to do. Help me how to think about it, how you think about it, right? I know you build houses, so you understand the amount of people that want to move to the country, build a home, live in the country, right? And there's certain restrictions in the county now that inhibit people from doing that because of the rules we have today. That's where I'm torn on. You know people's passion to do that, right? To get their family out on a farm, right? Might not be farmers, but out in the country, raise their kids there, the passion they have for that. But we don't allow that today in a lot of scenarios. But we would allow this in a similar scenario where somebody else would get rejected to bring their family out, you know. How do you think about that? Because you're involved in both of these things, so I think you probably have a good mindset on it, but I want to hear your thoughts on that.
Am I okay? I know I'm beyond my 3 minutes. So.
We asked you, you're good.
I understand that. And that's why you're successful, because you have a good business sense wrapped around homes and what your family does. And I enjoyed sitting with you guys at the city council meeting the other night.
We're at too many meetings.
Yeah, I love this. So I'm gonna go back to the point that I had made before, and that is, I feel that when somebody steps up to the table and takes a chance, and what I mean by taking a chance is that when there's a tract of land that comes for sale, okay, let's just say hypothetically there's a 200-acre tract of prime farmland that comes for sale, okay? Price tag on that farmland is $2 million, okay? You have one opportunity. I mean, we all know that life is about opportunities, and sometimes a person can capitalize on those opportunities, and sometimes they're there and you don't have the whereabouts to take advantage of that. However, my point is if you're asking me how do we justify pushing away people that want to build in the country and then this opportunity, sometimes it has to be looked at as they took the chance. However, we need to be able to support it and justify making these investments. We never made the investment of that property at all about anything. We knew nothing about the solar. There was some BS story going around about that. We had no idea. We found out about it through a fellow friend of mine that land was for sale. He knew that Sherry and I have two amazing boys that love to farm. And Sherry, God bless her soul, she knows how much I love to farm. And that was an opportunity that we took advantage of. And we were fortunate to meet with the seller. We bought the farm, and here we are today. But again, I think it's different because the person that is out there, and I mean no disrespect to this, but the person or family that's out there saying, I just want to have a home in the country, I want 40 acres or 50 acres and a hobby farm, that's great. Unfortunately, just like Eric and some of you other folks up there, farming is a way of life, but it's also a business. It's a commercial sense. And whether it's this or let's say somebody up there has an opportunity for a data storage or something, you know, we're seeing those start to pop up now. They're coming online because they are a need. Are we going to support them or not? I'm not answering that because I'm not on your side. However, society sometimes demands certain things. And I know there are some questions about the validity and the lifespan and how the elements can affect the hail or the property, so I'll let MI folks talk about that. But I want to really make sure that you guys do understand that, and I mean no disrespect, the person that wants to build on a 40-acre parcel with some outbuildings, they don't want to have some livestock and so on, that's great, is different than a farmer. Eric Johnson, I'll give him an example, because I don't know, I know some of you, or Mr. Hahn, you know, I know solar is not something that you guys wake up in the morning and you're wearing your I'm a solar supporter t-shirt and you got solar underwear on, okay? I'm being funny, but I'm being serious. It's because I don't wear that stuff. I want to wear Case IH. That's me. Love me or hate me. But I think this is something that is part of our society. It's no different than back in the 1800s and the early 1900s. There was something called the John Deere tractor, but everybody else said, hell no, I want to stick with my horses because I know I can feed them and I know they're not going to run out of fuel. Well, what happened to the horses? They're gone. Now we're spending $500,000 on a stupid tractor that doesn't do nearly as good as the horses, but we do it anyway. So I'm done. I don't have anything else to say. So.
You did very good.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Andy.
Whatever happens, we're going to always be friends. So. Thank you.
I just want to make one comment to that. It doesn't have to be a discussion. I just want to say one comment.
Okay.
I view this solar as a piece of infrastructure for the growth of our farm. I think we stated it at the last meeting. Our intent is to put up grain storage at some point. So this is, to us, this is just a piece of infrastructure to help us get to the next point. It's no different than if we were going to put up a building or something like that. We are very fortunate that solar gives us the ability to have the animals underneath, right? And I think that's really important because if we were just putting up a building, we wouldn't have that opportunity. So I just want you to see that as it's part of a bigger picture for us. And it's
You
not.
could put up an egg building and have a bunch of sheep and goats out there.
Right, but the solar is part of the growth, right?
Yeah.
Right?
So the sheep do better, if you put sheep out in the pasture, they won't do near as good as if you put them under solar? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No, the growth of our business. So we
Well,
have a farm and,
Right. It's a financial investment and it's
Right.
income. You want income. Let's just, might as well.
well, that's
cut
why
through
we
the
all work
chase
every
and-
day, right?
Wait, we might as well cut through the chase. Your husband just said so. You gotta you're looking for an opportunity to make money. I just stated that a while ago when I called up to My Energy and was gonna put one up and they turned me down. Because it costs too much money. They said to buy it from the solars. They can buy it from Dairyland Power cheaper.
Yeah.
So I was turned down on my solar. Now, maybe I did it the wrong way. If I would have told them I was gonna put sheep under there, by golly, I'll bet you they'd let me build one. Really? Because
Well,
there's
we
a
have
double.
to realize the
use of
world
that
is
land.
the world is changing. There's a higher need for electricity, and I'm sure Kent will inform you of that. But it's not like we're going to need less electricity, right? So it's part of stabilizing all of that, and I'll let Kent speak to that, but sometimes it's looking,
The argument turns
Change.
political because it's a push for green energy versus natural gas, oil, stuff like that. I mean,
Right.
they're trying to cut back on that and promote this. Which.
well, I don't know
to
that they'll
some-
be cutting back on anything. They'll be
Well, they are
promoting
though.
everything.
They are though. They're shutting down all these coal-fired plants. They're shutting down the natural gas plants. I mean, so they're making the push. You know, in Europe, they didn't do that. They kept all that stuff because they knew, this might not all work out, but it turns political, and I don't want this to turn political, but I'm sticking to the land use plan here. Protect and preserve prime ag land throughout the county.
Right.
That's
But you just
that's where I hang my
You also
hat
have
on.
to consider landowners' rights.
I get that part of it too, because I'm one of those too. I get that. I get that.
Yeah, I think one thing I think about is, we kind of discussed this, is I put myself in their shoes, right, of, wanting to grow a business, expand a business, and provide for your family, a legacy and whatnot, and like, an opportunity comes and you wanna use that opportunity to grow and better your business, and ultimately your business is farming, and this helps you grow the farming operation. I think there's a lot to be said on that, and I think there's, it is interesting, right, hearing from folks that do it today, and as you think about what is farming a little bit, right, like, is having sheep, eat the grass, like, that is farming, right? So are you, I don't know, I'm going back and forth, torn, right? Like, are you actually taking it out of farming? Cause like you said, you could turn prime ag land, put sheep on it, nobody can stop you from doing that today, right? If you took that land today, stopped row cropping and just did sheep, nobody could say anything to you, right? If you put solar panels on top of that and it doesn't affect the sheep, and you can still farm that same way, did it change?
Well, it changed the landscape, it changed the view, the aesthetics of the rural area. With 30 acres of solar panels out
is
there, or
that-
400 acres of solar panels or
Is
whatever.
the aesthetic of the rural area why we protect the prime ag land?
It's one of the goals in our land use plan is.
I know, but what specifically, like the prime ag land versus?
It's a
modern
combination
land,
of things.
you know?
It's a combination of things, yep.
I think we'd be better off making a recommendation. If they're gonna put solar panels up, it has to be on non-prime land.
We have some more public comment, please.
Kent Wickham with My Energy Cooperative. Just want to say thanks for having me tonight. Also, thank you, Amelia, for all the work you've put into this. It's been appreciated. I'm not going to get political with this at all. I'm not going to talk green energy. We're not going to go there at all. I guess why My Energy be looking at to do this is two things. Mainly on our end is one is the financial side. I know you guys talked about a lot of net metering facilities don't pan out, or the solar arrays don't pan out, or they're removed or whatever. We put in 4 projects 6 years ago, totaling 9 megawatts of solar. So far, the financials have worked for us. We have been able to see a reduced wholesale rate from that. We worked with the same company that we're looking to do now too. So just on the financial side of it, it does pan out. Otherwise, My Energy wouldn't be looking at doing something like this. And with our goal on, okay, does it financially make sense? What we're trying to do is keep the energy rate stable for the community. You see Excel looking at a 20% increase over the next 2 years in energy rates. You see Allen McKee just in Iowa, they're looking at a 15% energy increase next year. Last year.
And why is that?
Why is that?
Yeah.
Essentially wholesale power costs going up.
Why is that?
Because the cost of energy is going up.
Price of oil is $57 a barrel.
Yep.
Natural gas is fairly cheap, so why is it going
The
up?
cost of energy to produce energy, the cost to operate, the cost to buy trucks, the cost to run gas, the wage and salary amongst our employees, insurance is going up. I mean, you've seen increases everywhere. So 2 years ago, we didn't have a rate increase. Last year, we had a 3%, or this year, we had a 3% increase. Next year, we're looking at a 0% increase. So with our energy rates over the last 3 years, we've seen 3% increase. So we're doing what we can do to try to keep those energy rates down. Again, one of them is large-scale solar. We saw over $1 million in savings in doing that. So the financial side makes sense for us, otherwise we wouldn't be doing it. Just to circle back on one thing on there on the prime farmland too is, these solar arrays are 25 to 35 years. After that, they do have to be decommissioned, they have to take off, we either have to have a bond in place or your vocal letter of credit. After that, it is gonna get returned to the use it was before. So it's not like a dwelling where dwelling's gonna be on there for over 100 years. This is gonna have an agriculture use still if it were to use a dual use, and then when that dual use and the solar array is removed, it's gonna return to that farmland. The other thing I would just say is grid resiliency, talking on the co-op side of it as well. We are having discussions with data centers going out there. There's a lot of added load on the system. Obviously, we are rapidly adding load, generations trying to keep up. So essentially, there's gonna be a point where we get called on to shed load. We got to call on our water heaters, our electric vehicles. We got to call on our generators. When it's a peak demand out there, we're trying to reduce our system load. Having generation on our system, located in our community, helps us from reducing load. And anyone on that Caledonia substation as well, if we're rolling substations to try to drop load, if there's a 5 megawatt generation facility on a substation or whatever size generation on a substation, we're gonna be able to keep that online. And we're gonna be able to keep the people in the community, our members, online. So there is more reasons we're looking at this than just, we love green energy, so.
Well, it sounds like we need to address data centers in our ordinance.
I would 100% advise you to do that. We'd be happy to have the discussion. I think that would be something you guys definitely need to look at as well, because that's becoming a hot topic. We've had discussions too, so.
Well, I've
Yep, we'll definitely.
been following St. Louis County and what they're going through up there.
Yep, I definitely table that as something that needs to be discussed, so.
There's one proposed in Harmony, is that right?
Yep. We're working, the city just annexed 60 acres and are looking at doing a data center.
So what you're telling me is I talked to the wrong person in my energy, then I gotta talk to you.
I don't know who you talked to there. I guess all I would say is a PURPA is the federal law. We're required to buy energy no matter what. If anyone were to put a system in, depending on if it's 1 kW or 1,000 megawatts, as a utility or transmission company, we are required to buy that energy. What the difference is what the purchase price of that energy is at. So that kind of answers that.
As soon as it rains, I'll give you a ring.
We talk anytime. So I guess the only comment that I had on the proposed ordinance was just, it is mentioned distribution level, and that is really good because you stay away from the transmission side. If you talk about transmission, that is large scale solar. That's 1,000-acre projects. So it's really good that distribution was set in here because that would be tied into our system. So it's still high voltage, but to us, it's a lower voltage than transmission. And typically then on our substations, we'd be limited, the most we could do is a 5 megawatt project. So the cap that we would be able to do for a solar project would be about 25 acres.
Well, the sad truth is the large, very large, is out of our control anyway. State takes over.
Over what?
Somebody wanted to put in a
What's that
1,000-acre solar system. State overrules county.
So,
Where's the break on that? No?
Isn't that correct, Amelia?
Yeah, we have no say unless supposedly they'll take our local regulations into account for whatever that's worth.
Doesn't mean much, because they've done it in Dodge County. They've overruled local regulation and put them in, so, because there's a push by the state to do this, so. You know that, right?
Yep, there's a state mandate of 2030 for co-ops to be 60% carbon free and 100% carbon free by 2040.
If we have a
5 years away.
If we have a proposed transmission line upgrade coming through, is that a transmission level? Or would that bring in transmission level projects?
So there will be so MISO is kind of, I guess we're getting a little off topic on it, but essentially MISO is the air operator, the air traffic control operator of the electric grid. So it's us, Dairyland, and then MISO would be the controller of that. So they did identify a transmission upgrade that's required. It's on Dairyland's territory. So there will be it's called the Marybelle Project. It's a 751 kVA transmission line that's going to be built across our service territory. It's going to have to be, the timeline is, I think, 2032 to have that constructed. So that is one thing that's going to start being talked about. Our board is going to listen to, Dairyland's coming to our board meeting this month to kind of talk about that project. So we're just starting to hear on kind of the details on that, but that's going to be something where there's a lot public information put out there. When that transmission line comes through, you are right, there's gonna be more capacity available on that transmission line. So you are gonna probably have more interest for larger loads, possibly data centers, looking to tie into that new transmission line.
What about for energy input, like large solar?
It would go
wind.
Yep, it would go both ways. You could also possibly, I mean, it's mostly gonna be on the loading side. Technically, generally, the load has to be there to offset the generation side of it, but it will be an opportunity as well for generation.
We'd have infrastructure to accommodate larger projects.
Mm-hmm. Do I understand it right, the Marybelle line is pretty much taking all those large solar fields out west, gathering the energy and shipping it right by us, we're not really gonna benefit from it at all?
Yeah, it's kind of a mix. So there's a lot of generation in the Dakotas that they're trying to get over to East and Chicago and stuff too. So kind of where we're, the area we're at, there's kind of a constriction in the transmission, the flow of energy there. So MISO identifies projects and then which transmission company gets those projects bid on, and it just increase our capacity, transmit generation, transmit load.
Is there any insurance on those solar panels that you could get?
Correct, yep.
There is.
Yep.
That'd be wonderful.
So, yep, there's a warranty on the panels, and then there's insurance as well. Typically, we require for every person that puts in a solar themselves, us as the utility, we are required to verify that they do have at least 300,000 liability on the property insurance too.
Oh, really?
Again, that's small scale stuff, but yep, we are required to make sure there is some kind of insurance on the property.
Didn't Rushford School District return their grant money
They did, that's
because their insurance company would not cover their
correct, there's a bigger issue there.
cover it on a roof?
So another whole story there, there's a lot of money out in the state right now. They're putting a lot of solar on public buildings. There's also a solar for public schools, and then also public buildings. We have a lot of communities that are going after public buildings as well. We have about 4 of them, but Rushford itself, they have leaks in the roof. So the gym is leaking. So essentially the insurance said if you throw solar panels up on top of a leaking roof, we're 100% not gonna insure that. So they're dealing with insurance right now to get that fixed, so it kiboshed that.
Yeah, we looked into that when we built the new highway shop about putting solar on the roof, and then we realized the engineering they would have to go into the roof to support it, and.
Yep.
Can you talk about maybe how, does location matter in all this, maybe? So like, obviously you guys, the power has to get somewhere, right? So does location matter, or could people put these up anywhere and everywhere throughout the county? Like, how do you guys think about that?
We get calls from landowners all over our system. Sometimes I definitely have to turn them down depending on what we have out there for infrastructure. So kind of what Andy had talked about in the past too, on just kind of how this project came about, and it wasn't them seeking out the land to do a project here. We actually try to locate projects next to the substations. And actually Caledonia was one of the first ones we called, and the Allens had the property right around the substation. So that's how that project kind of came about. But essentially, the farther out from the substation we are, typically we'll have to build a separate feeder for a solar, a large scale solar. So the farther out we are, the more infrastructure we have to put in, the higher the cost comes. And then it just circulates back to, well, if the interconnection costs are high enough to make it financially not make sense for us, it's not gonna work. So typically for it to work for the co-op, it's typically closer to the substation.
Is there a general rule of thumb, like radius, like is it a mile away, or, you know, like anything like that, that essentially land would have to be within a mile of a substation to make it economically beneficial for you guys to pursue it? Or is it, like, how big is that sphere, you think?
If I had to, well, I should say, I shouldn't be able to answer that, but I would say, generally speaking, we're not gonna go out any farther than a mile.
Yeah.
But it does really depend on how big it is. I mean, if it's a 1 megawatt, 5 acre solar project, you can go farther out, because we don't need as big as conductors, so we won't have to upgrade as much line to get out there. If it's a larger system that requires 4-aught conductor and larger conductors, bigger size poles, then it's gonna cost more money to build that new line out farther away from the substation. So for a 5 megawatt, I mean, we're not gonna go anything out more than a half a mile from a substation.
You're really looking at the land, yeah, directly around the substation ideally.
Correct, yep.
So that's where, yeah, there's a certain limitation on, I'm assuming you probably build your substations on relatively flat ground in general today?
Yep.
So you create a little bit of a limitation on, the substations are on relatively flat ground.
Yep.
The solar needs to be surrounding closely to a substation to make it economically viable to do it. So the marginal ground issue gets more difficult because there's not gonna be as much of that on, I mean, there obviously can be, but where you're targeting substation is probably the same area where people would be targeting prime farmland or similar.
Yep. I would agree there, on the distribution side. So if we're looking at like a 5 megawatt under, 25 acres under, we're trying to tie it into existing substation. Now, if you go transmission where it's much larger, 1,000 acre projects, usually they're building a new substation on site for those. But we're not looking at doing a project like that. We'd tie it into our existing substation type deal. So if we're building any substations new now, it's usually because there's some type of new load going in.
So with your kind of knowledge and expertise on this, just if you couldn't use prime ag land at all to build solar in the future, does that really hamper or limit the ability of My Energy to do any solar in the county? Or do you think there's still opportunities for you guys to pursue that with if prime ag land was gone?
There's about 2 substations, Spring Grove and Caledonia, that would have the capacity at the substation to do it. Our Caledonia one is almost right on limits of our Spring Grove one is just right about in limits of Spring Grove. So it depends on, what's generally around it in order to make it feasible type deal. So, it's 2 substations in the county essentially.
Yeah. So it's a limited opportunity for landowners to do this kind of a project. Right?
Kind of what I'm trying to get at, I guess, is just the understanding of like, it doesn't seem that this would be a widespread, you're gonna consume a lot of prime ag land in the future. It's really a very targeted approach. You're only gonna consume a very narrow area around substations, and it's not gonna spread across the county and eat up tons of prime farmland. Is that kind of how you would think about it?
Yep, that's how I definitely say it. I mean, we did 4 other projects. We didn't locate any of them in Houston. Again, we looked at the substations that were flat, close by, that we could locate a solar array, and 3 of them are right next to the substations. We have one that's a little farther away, but it's a little smaller one. So again, we had more options there. Yeah, typically I wouldn't say it, and if there was a concern there, I would just say there's always an opportunity as well in the ordinances to say, hey, we don't want anything over 50 acres or 100 acres in total of commercial solar in the county type deal, if there was any worries about that.
But you got a fair amount of marginal land around Spring Grove, because they got that slab rock over there, and you wouldn't have to put as many sheep out there either, because the grass won't grow where them slab rocks are. I don't know if any of you folks ever farmed around Spring Grove, but I've done custom work there. I know what they are. So there's marginal land around Spring Grove, I know there is.
Yep. Our concern is just that substation's located right on the north side of town there, and I think we'd butt up with city limits there, in some residential homes, so.
Be hard to get at.
Yep.
Is there speaking of like a limit for like the county, as you guys think about it, is there a limit that you guys would say makes a lot of sense for the county to put in on that, like 100 acres, 200 acres, so it guarantees we'll never eat up more than X amount of prime land for projects like this?
I wouldn't be able to tell you a cap on there. I mean, the biggest thing is I can say that, and then all of a sudden you have a transmission company or a different entity that comes in.
can change right now.
And wants to put a 5,000 acre farm or thing in, then it's, so I would keep it maybe minimal to avoid that, so, yep.
How come you don't use the lock and dams?
Hydro?
Yeah.
Regulations. I mean,
The regulations, all of it?
yep, the permitting process will take forever. All the upkeep with it, all the things they have to do with the fish, the testing, the biology, everything that they're required to do, it is very intensive. And then it really requires a large elevation change too, so. You'll see them out a lot more in like Washington area and stuff versus kind of where we are.
Anybody else, or should we move to some more public comment?
Yeah. We've all talked pretty good.
Thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Commission.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
He wants to say something.
Yeah, I know it's getting late. I'll try to.
You went over your 3 minutes.
Yeah, right. Well, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
Say your name, please.
Oh, yeah, my name is Arlo Hark.
Thank you.
I'm a shepherd and a farmer Rice County, Minnesota, about 2.5 hours northwest of here.
Yeah.
I am the president and the owner. My wife and I started a company called Cannon Valley Grazers about 7 years ago. I won't get too deep into the backstory, but essentially, my wife and I moved back to my hometown, Northfield, with the dream of farming my family's land. Due to some unforeseen circumstances, my parents divorced. That dream kind of went up in smoke for us, and the land, kind of got split up in a way that we weren't expecting, and kind of left us with, trying to understand what our paths forward were as young farmers and beginning farmers in the state of Minnesota, in an area where land access is a really big challenge. My wife is from a cattle family in Washington State. I don't know how I got her to move to Minnesota with me. She's got a beautiful family ranch out there, but we decided we wanted to try to raise sheep in Minnesota, and we ended up finding some pasture ground nearby Northfield, an old kind of grown-in pasture, where we realized that our livestock could have some really interesting and positive impacts on the diversity of the ground cover in that pasture mix and the ability to kind of keep that pasture healthy and productive over time. And so we decided to start a targeted grazing company where we were, with the mission of trying to expand how livestock are used in interesting and creative ways on the landscape of southern Minnesota, with a vision of improving soils and stewarding landscapes, improving biodiversity in our grassland ecosystems here, and also improving water quality. Around that same time, I got a phone call from a company called One Energy, One Energy Renewables. They're developing a small portfolio of solar sites in southern Minnesota, and I was invited to come on a tour with a guy by the name of Eric Udelhoffen. And he asked me, have you ever thought to graze these projects? And I said, well, it's certainly something we would be interested in doing. And suddenly, as my wife and I were trying to figure out what our paths forward were, as young and emerging farmers, this pretty exciting opportunity presented itself to us to be able to try to co-locate sheep on solar sites in our county and also in kind of other parts of the state here. And so over the coming years, we ended up starting to graze sheep on solar. We have 2 projects in Fillmore County near Lanesboro and Rushford Village that we graze currently, and we've had really fantastic success there. And over the coming few years after I met Eric, we ended up getting more and more phone calls from folks that were interested in having us graze these projects because they really saw the value that sheep can bring to the world of renewable energy. And I think there's this new word, agrivoltaics, right? Really, for me, this is a space that is an innovative, we're in a really innovative moment in the world of land management on solar sites. Right now in the United States, there's 180,000 sheep grazing on solar projects nationally. That is double from 2 years ago. So the sheep industry is at an inflection point right now in the United States, and we're on the precipice of a really big moment in the world of sheep production, in my opinion. All that to say is that over the coming years, we ended up bringing on more and more solar sites into kind of our grazing portfolio, and have ended up. I think last year we were grazing on 80 solar sites in Minnesota and Wisconsin, raising 2,500 sheep at a commercial scale. And I feel very lucky. This is never something I expected to be able to grow to this point. But it's something that I feel adamantly sure in my conviction is this is the right thing to do when faced with the decision about how we use land and how we steward landscapes for future generations, and also how we meet the needs of our current energy demands in a rapidly changing world that I know makes me uncomfortable, and I makes a lot of my family members and we have a lot of my wife and I have a lot of conversations about what is this world that we're going to leave for our daughter, and so for me, this is and like I said, this is a pretty momentous inflection point in terms of how we decide to use land and how we can create interesting and maybe unconventional solutions to meet the moment and solve problems in lots of different ways. So I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I know I'm not from this area, but any chance I can to get down to Houston County, I always take it. You have one of the most beautiful counties in the state, and I really appreciate the opportunity to speak. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, comment to your, I run a big beef, Angus beef herd. I run a lot of acres. I don't have solars on it either, and I can farm it, but I run cattle on it. But if you keep coming with all them sheep, pretty soon you're gonna run me out of business.
Oh, no, not in this beef market, I won't.
We're talking about Yellowstone scenarios here. Just kidding.
Yeah.
No need to take anyone to the train station.
Yeah, right.
Thank you for your speech.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Oh, we got one.
Oh, boy.
You got pictures.
I think you probably recognize me, and I will try not to say things that I've said before. I'm Beth Esser with One Energy Renewables.
3 minutes.
Boy, because of you got a bunch of pictures.
Oh, yeah, well, I have pictures of said sheep that Arlo mentioned, so let me just show you that. So, you know, we've been working on solar projects with Arlo and with others for the last 7 years now. And our company really tries hard to partner with farmers that want to keep farming the land, not only around the project, but within the project. They don't see this as a conversion of prime farmland. They see this as a way of being able to keep the farm in their family for generations. And having grown up on a farm myself, I know how important it is to try to keep a family farm. And unfortunately, my dad was not successful in that and had to sell the farm. My dad also worked at a coal power plant. I grew up in Cassville, Wisconsin, and there were 2 coal power plants on the banks of the Mississippi River there. So when we talk about protecting prime farmland and the views that come along with that, I can imagine that the people in Cassville and any other area where a coal power plant has gone up once felt like that was not the view they wanted to have either. But energy is an essential part of our society, and the changing view of how that is provided in communities is also a part of that transition that we're in right now that Arlo mentioned. Current technology of solar doesn't support it on marginal land nearly as well as it does on flat land. The single axis tracking technology of the solar panels really is preferred to be on as flat as land as possible. The tracking technology can only accommodate so much change in topography, and that really makes an impact on the not only where other electrical infrastructure like substations are placed, but where the solar projects are looked to be placed as well. One of the things that the Minnesota summary that was shared that you referenced before, Eric, also highlighted the drinking water concerns in the community, and 100% of respondents said that safe drinking water was important to them. And I just wanted to mention that it's already been mentioned a little. Arlo was talking about it and Ryan was talking about it. But one of our consulting partners that we've worked with over the years that is an environmental consultant had been working with the Minnesota Department of Health and the Minnesota Rural Water Association on exploring how conventional ag production on prime farmland is difficult to reduce nitrate pollution. And they were exploring how incentivizing landowners to convert some of that prime farmland to solar could help reduce that nitrate pollution.
So if we converted everything to solar, we could get rid of the nitrate pollution?
There would never be a scenario where we'd convert everything to solar.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna use that as argument.
Well, that they were looking at targeting solar as a way of, you know, it's expensive to reduce the use of prime farmland for farmers. And so this would be a way of replacing income for them and also reducing nitrate pollution as just a way of targeting certain areas where nitrate pollution is a problem.
So we go back to that income again. That's what this whole thing is about, is that dollar. I'm in it too. That's why I raise cattle.
I don't think any farmer should ever be questioned about their need and desire to make income so that they can continue farming.
But we're not gonna get rich, the whole community isn't gonna get rich on solars and cheap underneath them, because we just heard a little while ago that it's not cost efficient to, because you don't have substations, so.
It's gonna be limited.
Yeah. So I think, I just would say that the projects that we work on serve local communities, and they are meant to be a place where both the farmer that we lease the land from and the farmer that we find to graze the project can benefit, but also the energy is kept within the community. It's not transported outside of the community. These are produced locally and consumed locally.
One question I got, you might have mentioned this on the previous hearing, but the farmer maintains full ownership of the land.
Correct.
Correct? So long-term, it just goes back to the farmer.
Yep. So this really is, for the landowners that I've worked with, seen as a way of keeping the farm in their family, because it is, they like I said, they oftentimes will graze sheep themselves if they have that, or have somebody else in the community, and then it goes back to what they want to farm long-term. And I guess, we really support the changes that were put on the website Monday in the ordinance to allow for solar with the use of agrivoltaics. We'd be happy to comply with any management plans with that, and I guess our only request would be to consider increasing the size from 20 to 25 acres. That's the 5 megawatts that Kent was talking about before, is like the max size that really would go on a local substation.
And what is the minimum that you need to make it an economical decision?
12 to 15. Thank you so much for your time. Sorry.
To clarify, maybe Amelia, isn't it 25 acres right now? 1 acre to larger than 1 and less than 25?
I may have updated that based on a conversation with the board last week.
Yeah, I think if I'm reading that correctly, it's now.
You updated it to what?
20.
Oh, this
That
one's
says
updated?
25?
This one says
This
25.
says 25.
Oh, okay, then I must have dropped it to 20.
It should be 20, or it?
That was kind of what we had talked about. Again, that's one of the areas that I,
Up for.
yeah.
So, sorry, can you explain, I think you just did, but maybe one more time, the difference between, for you guys, and to make the project 20 to 25, what's the difference on the project's end?
So we've been working with members of Dairyland Power Cooperative for the last few years on projects, and 5 megawatts is like the max size. It's also the most cost-effective size to build, and that is 25 acres.
Okay.
Yep. We have, this year, 6 of the 12 projects that we're building for Dairyland members are up and running now, and the last 6 are almost done. So this is the proposed, and we're not here to talk about a particular project. I know that's how it always ends up. But that's just, in general, I would say our experience is the size of projects range from that 2.5 to 5 megawatt size, and that's 12 to 15 to 25 acres.
One other thing, can you talk about, so those other projects you've dealt with, one of the things that have come up, right, is the visibility of the project or the eyesore of the project, right? have you seen other people do some sort of screening or like methods to, reduce that, let's say, visual appearance?
Yes, we work all the time on screening options. Sometimes there's no screening option needed, and other times we put up screening along the fence line. Sometimes we work with a neighbor just due to the topography and how it's laid out. The neighbor would rather have some trees in their yard, so we plant some trees in their yard. So we're very happy to do that. We also take a lot of pride in our projects to look good and become part of the landscape. Like I said before, coal power plants weren't part of the landscape at one point, and then they became part of the landscape. And that's, we want to make sure that our solar projects, I know it's a change in the view, but we want to try to make them look beautiful and integrate them as well as we can into the changing landscape. So, but yes, we're happy to comply with, tree screens. That's typically what people want, is kind of a natural buffer. Mm-hmm.
Question on the construction, the posts that you put in, are they driven in or are they augered in?
They're driven in. So there is, I know one concern was about cement, and there is no cement with the piles. They're driven in, and can be pulled right out. And, the only cement that is used often is the fence, the corners for the gate will have a little cement around them. We used to have the transformer located on a cement pad, and more we've been using a steel skid that is mounted on steel piles that are also driven into the ground. So.
One other thing you referenced, just to clarify, the tracking technology looks much better on essentially high-quality flat land. I assume that's to track the sun and like movement and versatility of the panel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That is bifacial panels and tracking panels. That is what is used now for solar projects. The only time, we were talking about this before, the only time really that fixed tilt panels are used are in areas where it's like out east, where there's very limited land and they're looking at trying to put solar in a more urban area that they don't have open land available.
How many of your projects that you said you got going on right now are built on non-flat land?
One in La Crosse County, we had to grade a lot, and we don't like doing that, but Vernon Electric Cooperative's entire service territory is driftless. So they wanted to do a project, and that's what we found the best spot we could find. And I would say that has more topography, definitely, than what we're looking at with the Allen family. Other than that, we have 2 other projects in Minnesota. Those are on real flat land. We have 2 projects in Iowa, also on real flat land. And then the 8 projects in Wisconsin, the one in La Crosse County, the others are all on flat land as well. Yeah. Any other questions or?
Who shears the sheep?
Who shears the sheep? Well, the farm, I think Arlo and Ryan could talk about that. I think that's I know I have socks from Arlo where he took that wool and made some cool socks.
We actually sheared on one of our projects in
This here 3-minute shed.
and there's a fella just down the road that sheared.
That'd be a lot of work.
I pack the wool into the packer, but I don't touch the shearing clippers because they're different breed.
Well, let's talk about shearing on off time, please.
Thank you so much for your time. I know this has been something you guys have been talking about for a
you.
long time, and we appreciate all the work.
Any other quick public comment? don't think so.
So with that, what are your guys' feelings on prime ag ground then?
Let's just go around the board and let each one say what they think, or am I out of order asking for that?
No, you're not out of order.
I'm starting, all right.
Closest.
Yeah, I think as I think about it and heard kind of the experts on what it is, right? Like, it's kind of, the way I kind of see it is, if you don't allow it on that, you essentially don't allow it in the county, right? Because for my energy purposes, it's not gonna have value to them, make cost-effective sense. Looks like the same on the development side of the projects, it's not gonna work. I guess I'm going back to, you know, an individual that owns a farm could just in spite, let's say the county said, you can't put solar there. They could just turn that farmland into dirt and do nothing with it. And why is that, right? Ultimately, that's because it's their land, right? They have the freedom to do that. You can take prime ag land and turn it into nothing if you want to, because it's yours.
Well, then you gotta pay the taxes on that.
Well, but you gotta pay it either way, right? But the point being, we do give people the right to do that because it's their land. And that's not the most productive use of the county land, right? We don't want that. We wouldn't want somebody to just say, in spite, I'm just gonna bury this land, and right, it wouldn't be financially viable, but point being there, people have the right to do it. They can do it today. They can just, fine, I won't do anything with this prime ag land. And I think that goes back to the bigger picture, and like, that farmer has the right to do it because it's their land and they know what's best for their property and their family and their livelihood. So I think I would side on the side of we allowing it and allowing the farmer to make the decision if that's what's best for his land and the best land use of his land. I think a good thing to do would be put the restriction on it that you have to continue to farm it. Which I think we got a couple examples here of people doing that, right? And I think you could, I think it's hard pressed to argue those guys aren't farmers, right? So I think it gets difficult to say it's not being farmed. You're taking it out of farm production. When we heard, you know, taking land from that was prime ag land and just turn it into, you know, sheep land where you can grow grass, right? What's really the difference? That's essentially what would be happening for these projects is we'd be turning row crop into land that can be grazed, which we already allow. And now we're putting a removable structure on top of it, right? So I think that's where I would lean. Ultimately, I think the biggest thing is a farmer could just stop farming in it today. And the reason is it's his land. He has the right to do that. So I would say, I think it's best to leave the decision up to the farmer and what's best for his land and himself, so.
Would you guys also touch on the maximum acreage that you think would be reasonable?
I think if we're gonna do it, we might as well do it, for what, you know, my energy and the development side of the experts say, so I would say the 25 makes sense, if that's, they don't want more than that for one single project, it sounds like. So I think if you're gonna do it, you might as well do it for what actually economically is viable, or just don't do it at all. I think that's the two scenarios I would go with.
I guess I don't have too much to say. I just have a hard time seeing things built on prime farmland. I know how hard it is to get farmland. I was 32 years old. I was renting farmland. I was 36 when I finally bought farmland. I don't want to see houses plopped all over the county, you know, around every corner. This falls in the same category. I mean, I get it. I want to make money like anybody else, you know, but I wish I had prime farmland, even 5 acres, because we're always talking about how we got to be efficient in farming. Prime farmland is the most efficient way to farm. I mean, I don't want to put an acreage number on it, I guess. I don't know how I have the right to say it should be 25 acres, because that's what's most economical for my energy, or, I don't know. That's not my department. If I was that smart, I'd have his job. So, but I just think we're making, I mean, yeah, I wanna do whatever I want with my land, but I know I can't do whatever I want with it. Somebody's gonna say something. I can't plop houses all over it. You know, I can't, you know, we don't even have a say in our septic, you know? I mean, you know that. You know, I don't know what the answer is here, to be honest. You know, if we say you can, if it's a structure, which you have to have a building permit is a building permit. So, I don't know where you go with that. Either you allow it or you don't allow it at all. So, I don't know how everybody else feels, but I guess I get where you guys are coming from. No offense, I mean, hell, yeah, if it makes sense on paper, that's a business decision. That's what you do, you know? So, but it's kind of a tough decision for me because it affects somebody's livelihood, I guess. But I guess in another sense, to make my farm go, I just have to work for somebody else. So I guess I don't have that option, so. But I mean, and I get it, you guys have jobs otherwise too to make it go, so. But I guess that's where I stand on it. I can't say there's an actual acreage number that works, because I think everything changes. You know, it's 25 acres this year, a couple years from now, technology changes, load demands change, infrastructure changes. We may put 25 acres on it, and in 5 years, it's irrelevant. You know, the demands with, say, data centers and stuff, just crank it up. And then what? You know, I don't know. I guess that's what I got to say.
Thanks.
I want you to know I got nothing against solars. My problem is on prime land, which I've stated before. If you wanted to put, which I stated before too, if you wanted to put on marginal land, put 10 acres on it, that's fine. And there's another thing, our comprehensive land use plan, you alluded to it. I've said it at many meetings. I don't like to be governed by the federal, by the state, by the county, by the township, but I have to live with these rules. So anyway, and as far as if you put a solar up, you don't need to put sheep on there. And if you want sheep, you can graze sheep out there. I graze my Angus cattle out there. That's everybody's prerogative, what they want to do. We shouldn't be tying this solar thing in with sheep, in my opinion. So I guess I've said pretty much what I've said before, is that I'm opposed to it on prime land. Marginal land, I'll go along with 10 acres. I guess that's all.
I'll keep it short. Fairly same as these guys. I don't want to be told what to do with my land either. You don't want to be told to grow corn or beans. What comes out. It's the prime land. It's really hard to swallow seeing it put on prime land. It's just my opinion. Marginal. Marginal is marginal. It's maybe a better solution, but it's not viable for the power company. And goes against the comp plan. We have to amend the comp plan if we're going to do this, I believe. So here we go.
I guess I'm from the old generation. Being as old as I am, being on the farm as long as I have been, seeing the land been in production all its years, wondering what it looked like 100 years ago, 150 years ago. I'd like to go back and see it, knowing that our forefathers grubbed off this land by hand to make ag land for production. It's hard to see. My son has told me many times, don't you ever put this farm in CRP. Well, it's going to be passed down to him. And the same stipulation will be going to him. In the will, it will never be put in CRP. This land around here is considered a driftless area. They're talking hiking trails, more biking trails, hunting. To me, it's my own opinion only, I don't like looking at solar panels. It's my own opinion. Even going up by Rushford, driving past Me Energy, looking at the site of solar panels. That's just a small site. But if you go into 20-acre parcels, 25 acres or more, in my opinion, it takes the beauty away from our location. But that's my opinion. I'm just the farmer at heart, and I want to see this prime ag land protected. Marginal land, I have no problem with. Pasture land, if it'll work out for solar panels, God bless it. Let's use that.
I think Larry's right. If we can use the marginal land, that makes more sense. It's your turn.
Wait, what?
Short and sweet, huh?
Who's sleeping?
Well, I appreciate everybody's comments here. They're all very good. I think they speak from the heart, what they all feel, and this is our individual opinion. You were looking for input on the ordinance here. I'm sure everybody knows where I stand on this as part of preserving prime farmland. It's in our comp plan to do so. It's our number one goal, number one policy. And I get what Josh was saying too. I'm a landowner rights guy too. So I get where an individual comes across an opportunity to do it. I get that. But then a lot of times that opportunity you're not allowed to. We see it with mining in situations. There's pushback on that. So I guess this day and age, those days of being able to do what you want with your land is no longer here. You have limits on housing and houses in the county, and then we do that to protect, I shouldn't say restrict, protect the agriculture district from development. We get a lot of pressure from La Crosse, we get a lot of pressure from Winona, Rochester. And we're getting demand for land. Woods are going for big money now. Prime farmland's going for big money. And what are the driving factors of that? There's a lot of things that are driving that. But like John said, we all wish we could have a good chunk of prime farmland being in the business that we are. And I just would like to stay with the comp plan and protect prime farmland. If you can put it on marginal land, I'm all for that. That's fine. That's where I stand.
All right,
All right.
that should help. I just have one more thing.
Yep.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's not very funny.
I thought you were gonna take us down to all night and buy us T-bone steaks. I thought that's what, for supper, I thought that's what you were.
I was surprised you guys seemed as eager as you did. No, I appreciate the input. So I will, also look at what we have. and take that into account and make the plan for November.
But we are not the deciding factor anyway.
Well, you're the initial.
Recommended board.
Initial reviewer.
Recommendation, yep.
To the commissioners.
Yep,
But this will be discussed again next meeting.
yep.
Yes.
And I don't think we have too many applications for next month, so hopefully it won't be almost 10 o'clock.
Yeah, good luck.
And as Franklin said before, the final say is with the Board of Commissioners, them damn Board of Commissioners.
Well, you can blame me, but it's very hard on the Board of Adjustment. It's very hard, and people have a right to speak their opinion when you ask for public comments. And you just can't say, oh, we're running out of time, sorry, you can't say, because that person might have something very important to say. Maybe it's as important as the one before, so it's tough not to run behind. And I've been here since 5 o'clock, and I'm not complaining, but I'm probably partial to blame that we get started late every month. So.
Well, this all takes time, and I think everybody does a fairly good job here, so. No complaints, no complaints from this commission.
Is that where we're at this point?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second that.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
There we go. Not even asking the other part.
Well, I think you did too, but okay.